Greg and Josh are not paid critics. They are not experts, nor do they claim to be. They are just two nerds that love to talk about internet shows. However, they're still going to tell you about what they think. So sit down, relax, and enjoy the latest episode of All Queued Up.
Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of All Queued Up. If you're new to the podcast, what we do here normally is we review two shows in their entirety on an internet streaming platform. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is Josh Fisher and Betty. How are you guys doing today?
We're good. Oh, I'm good. Are you good, Josh? You got to eat, so.
Yeah, I'm
He's not hangry
decent.
anymore.
No, well, I wasn't hangry to begin with, but
That's
I was,
good.
You know,
Can you guys answer a question for me? I have a question for both of you before we get to our guest. What's fresh air like? I don't know. I live in California, so I have no clue.
It's beautiful. It's
Oh,
amazing.
It sounds
it's
nice.
crystal clear. It's like
The weather this
You know-
weekend was just, it was perfect this weekend. It was so nice.
Hey, for anybody,
you ever see a video game in just like perfect 1080p,
yeah,
at
yeah,
60
yeah.
frames per second?
No, my
It's-
town.
It's
my town
like
looks,
that.
My town looks like fucking Silent Hill.
You hear the sirens?
But it's smoke. It's just smoke. Hey, if you're gonna have a gender reveal, please just send an email out for fuck's sake, because I can't.
Fuck.
This is terrible.
I'm
But
so glad I spawned before the gender reveals because that is the stupidest damn shit ever. It's up there with push presents, in my opinion. It's just like, no, you're having a baby, not an accessory, okay?
oh, fuck,
You know, what the
Seriously.
fuck?
Well,
Stop
you know,
setting
there's-
things on fire.
Well, there was like a grandma that got killed at a gender reveal party for her upcoming grandchild.
Did they
A
shoot
few-
her?
No, they had some type of.
It's a paintball.
They had some type of box that was supposed to blow the lid off
Oh,
and
no.
reveal what it was, and like essentially they had made a pipe bomb, not knowing what they were doing,
Wow.
and the shrapnel killed the grandma.
Wow.
It's a fucking grenade.
That puts a curse over the whole birthing experience, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Your
Welcome to
grandma
the life-
died for you to be born.
Anyway. Well, guys, we have a guest today that's going to join us in all the conversations, but especially the main one that we're going to have today, which we're excited about. Hello, Heather. How are you today?
Hey, I am doing well. I'm doing amazing. How are you guys? Like a pipe bomb, though. Like I'm just sitting here trying to be quiet. I'm like, Grandma got nailed by a pipe bomb. Like,
Right?
I can't wait for that hit holiday song. Grandma got nailed by a
By a
pipe
pipe
bomb.
bomb.
Prepare
Waiting
for
for
Too
the
Stupid,
gender
send out
to
an
be
email.
revealed.
my inner pyro is just like, you did that all wrong. Like, you did that all wrong. Like,
Fucking- It's awful. Well, thank you for joining us today.
yeah, no
I think
problem.
Yeah, the conversation that we're going to have today, I think, is going to be for anyone curious what our topics are today. We're going to talk about Lovecraft Country episode 4, or is it 5? I lost track.
4.
Four. Okay, I was right. The Boys episodes 1, 2, and 3, which is the only ones that aired on Amazon Prime, and then we're going to talk. We're going to have a heavy discussion about addiction, since all 4 of us have history with that. I think that conversation is going to be fantastic.
Amazing.
But let's dive right into episode 4 of Lovecraft Country. If you're not keeping up with the show, I highly recommend doing it. HBO Max is where you're going to find it if you don't have HBO as a whole already. And I say that like if you don't have cable or you don't have Hulu that has it. So I can't recommend the show enough. I would say last week's episode was better, but
I
I
agree.
because this got a little Indiana Jones-ish.
And no,
It got very
Yeah.
Uncharted. It was
Like the
very
water-
Uncharted.
it was a joke between my guy and I. We were sitting there watching it and loving the Indiana Jones vibe. I stated that. And the water, when they got in the water, we were like, okay, we're going to wait for that Indiana Jones movement when you have to escape the water, you know? So I loved the Indiana Jones vibe about that.
I had one gripe about that episode last night. And the premise of the episode, the Order of the New Dawn, they were trying to find these pages that were missing from the original book. The pages, in order to translate them, in order to hopefully learn spells that can protect them, Tick and his family and friends against this order. So that was the whole purpose of them searching for these pages. And they were in a vault in a museum in Boston. So they had to go back to Boston. The one thing that took me out of it for a brief moment is how the vault opened with the beam of the moonlight. It's like, all of a sudden the moon at this perfect time is going to hit at this perfect angle, and you're just going to have this shiny, bright light. Sorry, and then it disappeared once the vault opened. Come on.
That's that level of convenience that you see in treasure hunter movies.
Yeah.
That shit happens. Like, that shit happened in Uncharted. That shit happens in Tomb Raider. That shit happens in Indiana Jones. I'd even go as far as saying Alan Quartermain.
Absolutely.
That's why. I mean, that specifically, and like the bridge that was falling, and the puzzles and the booby traps. I was like, good lord, treasure hunter.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, Uncharted is one of my favorite video game series, and I love the Uncharted elements, the Indiana Jones style elements. But at the same time, it was a little on the extreme side. But it didn't detract from my enjoyment. It's just specifically that one moonbeam effect, just like, oh, come on, you can do better than that.
It was I'll give you that. It was a little lazy, but also on the same note, like, I think what makes it stand out a little bit better in regards to that is the characters, because I'll tell you right now, like, Journey Smollett fucking still kills it as Letty, like 100%. Sorry, Letitia fucking Williams or Lewis. I don't know why I say Williams every time.
Because you're terrible with names, Greg.
I know.
Everybody that's been listening to this podcast for more than one episode knows that you suck when it comes to names.
Like, I'm exceedingly happy that Heather's name is constantly on the screen in front of my face. Otherwise, I'd forget your name already.
I'm okay with that. Like, I can't remember names either, so like I can't even hate at all. I love the Lovecraft, and I mean, like, I live with, like, my sister is a diehard, like, her and Jeff are Lovecraft fans. Like, I mean, like, all I know is Cthulhu. Let's just be honest. And I kind of was. It's like, oh yeah, yay, Lovecraft, and because I've heard so much about it, and my brain just shuts off, and so I was kind of like thinking it wasn't going to be good. But as I love it, I actually do love it. I love the way it is fast paced, and like, yeah, it was cheesy and it did go straight Indiana, typical stuff. You know what's coming, but the way that HBO is doing it, where it's exciting and like they managed to keep you in it, and just enough gore and just enough thrill, and it's rolling. So I'm pleased with it so far.
Yeah,
that's my phone.
Like, I think last week's episode was more powerful because the supernatural element and the racial element were tied us to one plot, and it like the ending was so satisfying. Whereas this episode didn't really have that. It just added more to the lore of what they're dealing with.
Yeah,
I think they're going to catch up with it. That feeling that it left you with, it's going to carry over into the next episode.
Yeah, because I agree that last episode, The Haunting, like, that was the episode that sealed it for me. It was just so amazing, and like you said, with the haunting and the supernatural, and then the racial aspect. And I loved it when she finally had enough and she went and handled it. I was screaming at the TV. I was no with the racists. Like, of course, I was screaming at the ghost, but it was like, it was so satisfying when she finally was like, "Bitches, I've had enough." And she just went out there and, yeah, because I mean, I'd straight up murder somebody with that noise. Like, you can't do that. Like, so yeah, it was great.
A character that I absolutely love, even though clearly they're not to be trusted, is Tick's father.
Oh my god, yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Montrose.
Montrose.
That's
Yeah,
the drinker,
Montrose.
right?
Yeah, He's the guy who's drinking a lot in this episode.
Oh,
and he's the guy who killed the chick that I was like, oh, I can't believe you just did that. But I'd probably do that too.
Like, I was straight up waiting on him to die. I was like, this dude's like giving too much fatherly. Like, I was like, okay, when's he dead? Like I was waiting on him to die this whole episode. But then at the very end, when he did that, I was like, oh shit. Like, but he did read the book. Like, I'm just saying. Yeah. He knows what's coming.
That also that reveal of what was inside the crypt or tomb or whatever you want to call it with the woman. I did think that part was very, very cool. I was like, oh, this is like, again, it goes back to that whole treasure hunter shit, but that like her being ancient and not speaking the same language but Tick understanding her, I was like, this is fucking rad.
Yeah.
Like, really.
Well, that's a blood right there,
Yeah.
It's like speaking Slytherin. Yeah.
I will say this too, like Supernatural, it's coming to an end and it's been very disappointing. And for some reason I'm getting like, to anybody that likes Supernatural, you will like this show. Like we can't ever replace them, but it's the way they're doing it. I'm really enjoying it. And it's like, yes, I love this. I was like, when he came up to that blonde dude, the creepy, like albino blonde man started coming up to her sister. And I was like, oh, you're about to do a Crossroads deal. Like,
yeah, that freaked me out. That scene left me going, what the fuck?
I was like, blonde albinos creep me out. Beth knows this. They don't.
Yeah, you don't weird. Like blonde guys at all.
No, they're weird. Like that's straight up.
Even
weird.
Eric Skarsgård. She did not. Is it Eric Skarsgård?
Yeah,
the oldest Skarsgård brother.
Yeah.
She found him creepy, and everybody loved him. But
and I love True Blood, but it's just you too blonde.
You're too blonde.
I
you need more melanin.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially German blondes, they really weird me out.
you would really be weirded out by my brother. Then he's like, his kind of blonde is so white that blonde or whatever, that his body hair is non-existent. Like it doesn't. You can't see it.
We are not those kind of girls.
No hate.
You need to have more body hair than me, okay?
Some people are afraid of gingers. The albinos freak me out. So
let me be clear about the body hair situation. I lack body hair because of my mom's Native American blood.
Exactly.
My brother Josh got all the German heritage, and he's covered in hair, but you can't see it.
So he's only
German blonde.
You only know he's fuzzy if you touch him.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Or like the right light hits him and you're just like, that looks like a coat, sir.
Whoa, what's going on there? You make a fine rug, brother.
Just creepy. Bless your I feel bad.
Oh no, it's dude,
Dude, who's calling me?
He's married and he's happy and whatever. But yeah, it was a good episode. I think the show is definitely gonna have a solid like next few episodes because they set something up big in this one.
Yeah,
I've never been a big fan of Monster. Like I kind of mentioned this when we started watching it. I'm not a big fan of Monster of the Week. Like I don't like, hey, we're gonna have an entire plot that is not centered around the main overarching plot, and then we're gonna have like 10% of the episode be about the main overarching plot. And this show's like, 50-50.
Yeah,
because there's a couple stories here that I'm like, where are you going with this?
I'm okay with
the
that.
Ruby story. I'm very curious. Why are you hooking up with Hitler's perfect area?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to say that. I'm trying not to go there, man. I don't know. Like,
you can go there. I mean, you're just waiting for him to pull out his original signed copy of Mein Kampf.
You know,
signed copy.
Like, it's really bad.
Oh, why don't we go ahead and give a grade to this, and we'll move on to the boys because I feel like that's going to be a deeper conversation. I'm going to give this episode a solid B+. I don't think it was as good as last week's. I don't think it's good as the other episodes. I think it's the weakest so far. But by standard of just the other episodes, it's still good. So, or other shows, I should say, it's still good. So I solid B+. I can't wait to see more. What about you, Betty?
I'd actually give it an A because my mouth was hanging open most of the time watching this. I was going, what? So I am I'm excited about what they're going to bring to the table next week, and how they're going to pull all this stuff together. Because again, the whole Ruby thing, I'm more interested in that story right now than I am the rest of it, and I don't know why. I'm like, what are you doing, girl? What are you doing? So I give it an A, a solid A.
All right. Heather, what do you think? Okay, Josh, go ahead.
No, I'll defer.
What I wanted to do was I wanted Betty to then pass it to somebody else, and like we. Did
I'm sorry. I passed
Well,
it to
I didn't
Josh,
say
and
it.
then Josh, you pass that potato on to Heather.
Shit.
Okay. Well, see, now you know it's coming. I will say probably it's strong, but it's not as strong as the other episodes, but it's still quality. I'd give it an A minus. There was really just the one thing that I had the nitpick about, and I can't help it. That thing just took me out for a brief minute.
It was your tick.
It was
your tick. Now I feel bad because like I feel like y'all are being generous. Like I'm going with the total B.
Well, I mean,
there's nothing wrong with that.
They said
be
I feel like it's got the absolute ADD seal of approval, but they set the bar so high, like with last week's episode. I loved it so much. Yes, it was great, but you showed your hand, so now like it was a good solid B. Yes,
that's why I think next week is going to be a good build up because of this episode, because they've left a lot of opens. So how are you going to do that? Yeah. It'll be good.
But definite. Yeah. Watch.
Definite
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
we've all given it like high passing grades. So it's still watch the
show.
So
absolutely.
Essentially, you're looking at a B plus, A minus.
Exactly.
That's only a point difference in whatever you're going to say.
Watch it.
It's fun.
If I brought home a B plus, my mom would be proud. So there you go.
I know my parents would be absolutely thrilled.
And my parents would be like, "You can do
I'd probably
better."
get money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Like I'd get money.
And I get it. Do better next time. And we had completely different childhoods in many ways.
As long as it was a C in passing, I was golden.
Yeah, she's getting high fives, $20 bills. I never made a C. I was too afraid to make a C. That would have been bad.
You say that because my reward would have been to rent a video game. That would have been my reward as a kid.
I mean, to be fair, I was an AB average, but I didn't try. So after I started trying, my bare minimum was a C, and my parents knew that, and they were like, "Well, shit, her bare minimum is not failing, so can't hate." I
mean, I could go on a whole tirade about how our scoring system in school is all broken and shit, because a C is what every kid should be striving for. B and A is overachieving. D and C is D and F is underachieving. C is average.
Yeah.
Why are we not telling people this? Like, what? Anyway.
I'm average.
We don't keep score in
exactly
homeschool, so if she either gets it or she doesn't. That's how I feel about it. If she gets it, she passes. That's an A. If she doesn't get it, we work harder until she does.
All right, let's go ahead and move over to boys.
Yay!
So before we get into season 2, Betty and Heather, I believe, did you watch season 1 before any of them? Okay.
Yes, the week the day it came out.
She watched it. I just watched it last week, and I was amazed. I loved it. I loved it.
I kind of wanted to get your thought on that before we dive into the boys, mainly because season 1 definitely has a slightly different tone than season 2.
It does.
So you said you loved season 1.
I did. It was shocking.
I was able to watch it all. I loved the story, like where I love superheroes, and it was just superheroes are fucking dicks, and I like that take on it. So I was very intrigued. And come on, the dolphin. Like that is iconic. Oh my god, that was amazing. And just different takes.
But season 2 upped it a notch. So
we'll
talk about that in a minute.
God,
that scene, I saw it coming. That scene, I was just like, "Oh God, yes, this is going to happen." And Misty's like, "What's going to happen?" And I told her what's going to happen. She's like, "No." I was like, "Yes."
Yep.
And it did.
Yeah, I did.
and it
Yeah,
was
I did.
glorious.
But with the first season, having recently watched it, I had to say, and not knowing, I was watching the first episode and going along, and then all of a sudden his girlfriend is just splattered.
That was insane.
And I mean, my mouth fell open, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm screaming at the TV. And it was right about the time my husband called, right when he got off work. And I was like, so am I literally watching a super villain in the making? Because I feel like that's what's about to happen. He's like, you just got to watch it.
Well,
I
see-
had to watch it. And did
you read the comic?
No, haven't read the comic. The only complaint I have about the show is the gratuitous sex scenes. I think you could tell most of the story without the gratuitous sex scenes, because this is something I will watch with my 15-year-old, almost 16-year-old. But neither one of us is comfortable watching a freaking sex scene together. So I have to make sure that it's constantly ready to be fast forward, or we're both going, oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like I can't sit down with you and Jeff. Like, that's so
no, it's like,
uncomfortable.
I don't want to watch. It's like watching porn right in the middle of your show. It's like show, porn,
Yeah.
show, porn. I'm like, why?
But if they're going to do it, I got to say, like, make it fair. Show that dick. Like, we see titties all the time. I'm just equal rights.
Hey, you saw both
I'm not
on
saying I want to see
Lovecraft
it, but I'm
Country.
just saying it's only fair. It's only right.
I remember that was the
So
biggest
speak-
complaint about Game of Thrones. Was like,
Yes.
it's just showing too much vag and boob. We need to see some boners. And I was like,
I mean, like, it's only fair. It's equal rights.
I don't want to see either one.
So I do want to tell you guys about some differences between the comic and the show, because I find that fascinating. The show does a fantastic job of keeping the theme of dissecting and there's another word I'm drawing a blank on, but basically like taking what we know to be popular superheroes and putting a
satirical twist on them.
A more realistic spin. Yeah, very
like Superman.
Superman
wouldn't be the Superman in the real world. Garth Ennis sees him more as Homelander.
Yeah,
Homelander's a dick.
He really is.
So one of the big difference about the opening scene with Robin and Huey is that they're at a theme park, or not, like, I think it's a theme park, it might be a carnival, but he's standing there holding her hands, and then the next thing he's just holding her hands. There's no giant blood splatter that doesn't happen in the comic, and A-Train is chasing another villain. As a matter of fact, he slams into the villain, which is what causes that, and he slams the villain into a wall, and Robin just happens to be on the other side of that situation.
She was pancaked.
She was meant to die.
You see one panel of her on that wall, and it's like parts of her. So there's some graphicness in the comic, but it's not like what you saw on the show. It's a little different.
Yeah, I have to admit, what I saw on the show, I was quite amazed. I mean, my mouth was open. I was just like, wow, I can't believe this just happened. This poor dude. And when we were watching season 2, Jeff just kept saying, man, he always ends up with other people's blood all over him.
Oh my God. I'm different. I love violence. I love gratuitous violence in certain ways, and that's where I was hooked. Like, she just steps off, and then all of a sudden it's just blood splatter all over him,
ass, blood, and guts all everywhere.
Yes,
I felt so bad for him. And he, when he was imagining talking to the representative who came about the money, I was thinking, good for him. And then I realized real quick, I was like, no, he's not really doing this. This is a dream sequence. It was. So I'm glad he's balled up a little bit, and he's hanging with the crowd. It's going to get him. I don't know. Maybe he's special himself. I don't know. I'm very curious about his storyline.
In the comics, one of the things I think is really fascinating that they changed, and arguably, I mean, it's not better or worse. Compound V. In the show, it's used as a chemical that changes babies, and that is a thing in the comics, but slightly different. But the thing about the chemical is that it is temporary. And if you take it, you have temporary superpowers. So there are moments in the comic where the boys will all take Compound V to fight another group of superheroes or try to arrest them, or in some case.
Mhm.
And one of the situations is that the first time Huey takes Compound V, he goes to punch another superhero in the face and literally punches through their skull.
Oh, wow.
Love that. They hope that happens.
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
Oh yes, it is.
It does become an addictive substance for certain superheroes or people that want to be superheroes and get a hold of Compound V, which I think was a great element that they made a primary point in the show. But that was one of the biggest differences to me, was that Compound V was not what it is in the show. But there's also like Vought seems to in the show own all of superheroes. Like they own so fucking much. And in the comic, it's not as widespread, but there are other groups of superheroes. And I hope that they bring it into the show. But there's a group of superheroes in the comic named G-Men. And it's a whole parody on the X-Men. There's even like I think he's called like the Badger Mole or something like that, but he's a parody on Wolverine, and it's fucking hilarious.
See, that's what I thought Pop Claw was, just a little snarky laugh at Wolverine, how he is so big, and yet, she has essentially the same power. You pop knives out of your hands, you're a C-level hero, because Garth Ennis is very tongue-in-cheek when it comes to heroes. And
speaking of Garth Ennis, one of the a comic that he wrote a long time ago, before The Boys, was called The Pro, and I think this was his like gateway into doing a parody of the superheroes that he had to write for years. It was a hooker who, in the middle of like giving a blowjob, gets hit by like some kind of meteorite that gives her superpowers, and
like that story.
So she uses her superpowers to give like super speed hand jobs. I'm not joking. And it isn't until a situation that gains the attraction of the this comics Justice League, if you will, that is comprised of the Saint, Superman, the Knight and Squire, which is Batman and Robin, and they wear very revealing clothes, and it's said in the comic that they are a gay couple. The Lady, who is a parody of Wonder Woman, the Lime, Green Lantern, and Speedo, the Flash. And one of my favorite moments in it, it's so funny, is there's a guy that wants to hurt the Pro. So he goes into her house to like rob her or get some information or something, and she finds him there, and he grabs her baby, and he puts a gun to the baby's head, and he says, I'll kill your baby if you don't do anything. She's like, don't hurt my baby. All of a sudden his head is just popped off, and the Saint is standing behind the bad guy. He grabs the baby and hands it to her, and as a thank you, she decides to give him a blowjob, which he has apparently never had.
Wow.
So he says, you need to move your head. And she goes, why? He says, I'm going to finish. Move your head. And she goes, I don't get it. So he pushes her head off. His cum shot is so strong that it blows through the roof of the building and puts the wing of the plane. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So she's giving a blowjob when she gets hit by a meteorite, right?
And then she got
Did she bite down?
She got hope
Did
powers.
she bite it off? That is what I want to know.
Well,
because if
That's
I
what
get
my
hit by
first
a
thought, too.
meteorite,
not because that bet
Thank
that
you,
would run the
Josh.
courthouse, you go jack him off later if she bites it off. Like,
Well, no,
I mean,
it was a
it's
customer. She's a
one-time
pro.
thing. I mean, you can't blame a chick who bites it off if she gets hit by a fucking meteorite. That's understandable consequences of getting a blowjob by a hooker
I mean,
on a back street.
why does the girl fuck the pizza man? We do not question porn. It just is.
That is true.
The reason I mentioned this
As a former pizza man, that
As a former
storyline was
pizza
always
man.
that storyline was always bullshit.
Yeah. It's like, how many times did that happen to you?
The reason I mentioned the Pro is because I don't know if I want them to add the
Just
Pro
once.
into the Boys show, but what I do want them to do is make a movie off of the Pro, but like use the people involved with the Boys, because I think that they're doing his whole like superheroes ain't shit kind of attitude towards it, and I love that about I was really worried that the show The Boys was not going to imbue that whole like giving these iconic superheroes a new look. I was really worried about that, and I'm really happy that not only do you two love it, but that that's crystal clear. That's crystal clear to you guys that it's like, oh, okay, this is supposed to be Superman, and not fuck Superman, but hey, Superman is unrealistic by a huge
Absolutely.
margin. So that's the reason I mentioned Pro, because like I
That
want
cum
that.
shot though.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The next shot is him like saving the plane with his pants down.
Well,
There's
yeah.
so many avenues.
Just wiener flapping in the wind.
But these are questions that would come up, among friends who talk about these things. Because I'm sorry, eventually these things are going to happen in this type of universe. Is okay. So how's this going to work logically? Because if you have super strength and all your super parts, what is a cum shot going to be for you? I mean,
Damn.
you'll have to use IVF to get your bitch pregnant, because you can't ever come in her. She'll fucking explode.
I'm just saying, this is the most existential conversation I've had about cum shots in my life.
No joke. I wish I was joking when I say this. There's an entire plot of Spider-Man where he gives Mary Jane cancer because of his radioactive semen.
Oh my god!
I mean, yeah.
He should have put a wrapper on it.
I mean, it's radiation bed or whatever. It goes through, like, duh.
It doesn't hang around as long as sperm.
Yeah, this is a whole thing. Nope.
So yeah, let's let's dive into season 2 then, since we're kind of in the midst of this conversation. What did you guys think of like the new character Stormfront? Let's just go there first.
Love her.
That's
and
the
the
electric
way that-
bitch, right?
Yeah.
Like she's there to be like when she's a cunt. I thought she was I was seeing where she was going. Like she's all like I was behind her with the dicks and vag, like why is girl power. I mean, oh my god, the girl power. It's like, oh my fucking god. So I got that, but then like you saw what her character was when she straight up killed the father when she was going after him. Like you knew then, like this bitch gives no fucks. Like families were killed. She didn't do any, like she gave no shit. So yeah, I don't like her.
That's why I love her. She is the female version of Homelander.
Yes, exactly. But I don't like her for that. Like, well, I don't like her. I can't wait for her. I can't wait for her to get what's coming. That's all.
That's what I love about a great villain.
Exactly.
Is the better the villain, the better your story. And she is being set up to be wonderfully terrible.
She's killing people like she's used to it. So I don't know.
Well, but the thing is, she's not the same as Homelander, because Homelander really does try to put on this front of, I'm a morally good, superhero. I always do the right thing. And she's like, fuck this shit. She's straight up. I don't think she ever really lies about who she is as a person, but he does. And so I was not surprised to find out that she was not everything that everybody might have thought she was. That she really is one of the bad guys. And I kind of figured that from the beginning, because when she was hired, who hired her? It wasn't Homelander. It wasn't Amanda, and he got all pissy. It was Voight, the guy who owns the freaking company. And of course, she's a plant. He hired her directly. She's there to gather intel and to basically clean up their messes. And I think he's trying to figure out a way to get rid of Homelander, because Homelander's gotten a bit too big for his britches.
But she took off that boy's hands, though. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff was not happy. He was very sad, because he thought, oh, we're gonna have this great character, and then he's like, so she's a cunt. And I was like, yep, she's a cunt. I saw it coming.
I was hoping that he would be around for at least another episode or 2. But, I mean, that episode gave us one of the best scenes ever. I'm sorry, but I love the Deep.
Yeah.
That
is
that
hard.
poor bastard. That poor bastard.
I
How
know.
he's just so noble in trying to help the creatures of
And
the
he
sea.
just can't. I mean, could you imagine growing up and hearing the goldfish scream? Like,
Well,
that's horrible.
What about the when he gets, bailed out of jail by his superhero dude and they start handing him the book and me and Jeff looked at each other and we started dying laughing. We were like, it's Scientology. That's what this is. It's Scientology in their universe.
Yeah, essentially.
As a Scientologist, let me tell you. Okay.
There's a backstory to this.
I'm just saying.
We have a male war going on.
Scientologist.
She is. I signed her up for this because she signed me up for some church shit, some Ted Garner shit. And I keep getting all this shit in the mail from Ted Garner. So I was like, you
real,
bitch.
y'all.
I was like, I'm going to sign her up for Scientologists because once they got your name, they never let go.
Well, then I signed her up after the Antichrist
there's another
stuff.
one.
There was the monks that made your hand caskets.
Yes.
And they sent you little crosses
that
were handmade by
one little cross.
You got a handmade cross by
I got a handmade cross.
So she's like, I'm going to get you back. And I'm like, well, I'm curious. Let's see how this plays out. Let's do it. And then
what was it, Betty? You asked me a few months back. She's like, I got to get my sister back somehow. What can I do? And I gave you a suggestion. You said, yes, that's perfect. So Heather is the one that I helped you prank.
And if it was Scientology, it wasn't a prank. It was a gift. Like, we don't even know.
The gift that keeps on giving.
I don't think it was the Scientology thing. It was something, though. I remember.
Let me tell you, you don't like Scientology. I mean, you don't even know. They email me every day. I have a card. It has my name on it. I'm a card carrying Scientologist. So yeah. Best present ever. I know. When I got it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I can't find anything to get her back either. Like, unless I find a cult that's actually going to come kidnap her and
Shut the
dangerous.
fuck up.
It's reached the levels. There is no exceeding. Like, how do you beat making me a member of Scientology? Like, if anyone out there has suggestions, please hit these people up.
No, do not suggest shit.
Yeah,
not. Or at least make it fair. One of you for her, one for me.
And okay, Christians and Mormons, like, they show up. They're not persistent. Like, you got to beat Scientology without getting her kidnapped or involved in, like, the FBI. Like,
don't swap my house, man.
You can't fuck her. But yeah, suggestions. Hit them up. Let me know. Sorry, guys. I've reached out to Facebook, man. I can't. I've got nothing.
I love it.
So that was that.
Yeah. So yeah, the Deep.
So the Deep got a whale drill.
Scientology.
That poor whale.
That whale. Oh man.
And then poor
Huey
he's
riding.
the whale.
The heart beating. The heart beating.
I'm just going to spoil it because this scene's too good. The Deep's riding the whale, and he's on the back, and he's like all Aquaman, and he's like, I'm going to stop them.
Yeah.
They're trying to head this boat into this storm drain. I'm going to stop them. And I was like, they're going to drive the boat right through the whale.
Oh my God,
Misty said, no, they're not. I was like, yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
And then boom, you see this fucking speedboat just hit the side of this whale and just completely blow through it.
The blood everywhere.
Just so you know, that whole scene was already spoiled on Twitter by Amazon weeks ago.
Okay.
Really?
Good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I feel this.
Well, not everybody uses Twitter, Greg.
I'm just saying you're not really spoiling it if it's already out there for public to see.
Yeah, you just have to make a personal choice to avoid information.
But there are people like me and Heather who did not know this until we saw it. So I mean,
and me, I didn't know either. But oh my God! And then the fact when you see them inside and there's just bits of whale hanging off of them everywhere, like Huey's laying there covered in whale blood. And that beating heart right next to him, and there's just wriggling bits of whale body on his face.
It was bad.
Oh, God,
it made me think of the Star Wars scene where Luke hides up in the cut open tauntaun. Yeah, that's
what I know.
When Butcher was coming out of it, I was like, I actually said the line, and I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Right?
At least they killed the Tauntaun quick. That beating heart, man.
I know, right?
Like I was just like,
Well,
I
the
give up
Tauntaun
too.
froze to death.
Yeah, to be fair, like that
Yeah,
poor whale
It
just
was already
died
dead.
slowly.
That whale was still alive while they're coming out of it.
Exactly. Like I'm like, y'all are standing right next to the heart. Somebody stab it. Just come on.
The
Put it out
heart's
of its
beating and
misery.
it's sitting there. It's out of the water and it's got air, but
Poor Deep.
I mean,
Poor
it's just
Deep.
bleeding out. Oh, traumatic.
That scene reminded me of that old footage of them, like of the demolition people trying to blow up the whale on the beach, and it just rained down.
Oh
people.
yeah, and it was raining down chunks of whale on cars and spectators. So that was hilarious.
No.
It's like, you dumbasses.
They actually did that in Reno 911, the movie.
Oh, I have
Yes,
no doubt.
yes. It was fucking hilarious.
Oh God, that movie is so funny. But yeah,
So
I'm really digging season 2 so far.
Okay, can I just state one thing? Guess
yes.
who's coming to season 3? Dean
What?
Jensen Ackles from Supernatural has already been confirmed for season 3 of The Boys.
Oh,
wow.
awesome! I wonder what
Yeah.
character he's going to be playing.
Yes, it's confirmed he signed up because
maybe
the
he'll be the
director,
replacement for Homelander.
well, the director of The Boys is actually on Supernatural. He created and wrote for Supernatural, Eric Kripke. So
Okay,
yeah, and so I was very
so they've been working together for years then.
yeah.
Yes, they are, and that's my man right there, Dean.
I always enjoyed him when he was on Smallville.
No, we don't talk of
actually.
that. we don't.
I'm just saying that's where I was introduced to him from. But yeah, I've never watched Supernatural, so
I'm upset.
Oh, it's so
tried
good.
Dude, I can't. It's amazing. It's a girl-based fandom mainly.
But it's funny as shit. It's like there was this one episode with imaginary friends that were real.
Oh my god! Yes.
Best episode ever.
The teddy bear blew out his brains.
Yeah. I can't take this
He couldn't
anymore.
handle life anymore, so the teddy bear blew out his brains. Like when it first started out, it was complete monster of the week type of show, but then about like the 3rd, 4th season, it started evolving where there was plot beyond that, and it got amazing.
And
like,
it's got a dark sense of humor.
Yeah,
to
real
it.
dark. Like teddy bears are blowing their brains out because they can't take life. You know? So
I feel that's actually a fitting in for a teddy bear.
You know?
It's like they can only handle so much of your some kid's baggage. And eventually it's just like, oh, fuck, I can't do this anymore.
Yep.
But I was really thrilled when I heard that because I love the dude that plays it. I love the character Dean. So when he signed on to The Boys now, I can't wait to see what character he plays and where they go with this. So it's I'm excited to see where they're going.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't get typecast so that way he can maybe stretch his legs a little bit with acting.
Yeah. That's what I'm excited to see. This will be his first, role after Supernatural. And I'm excited to see that.
Something that you mentioned from the comics, how Compound V was just known and people would use it. Now that we've seen in season 2, the public now knows about Compound V. Maybe there's a way for it to be implemented. How the boys, some of these people, like Stormfront, like Homelander, they can't take them on by themselves without any abilities. So maybe they'll be like, what if we start experimenting with Compound V to fuck around?
Compound V is going to become a street drug.
Yeah, I think it will. You'll see addiction issues like you saw with A-Train in the first season.
Seeing it, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I hope they go that route, and I hope that we get the G-Men, or it doesn't even have to be the G-Men, just other outside heroes, because it was alluded to.
Happen because
I
of the
think
ship
it was.
and her and her brother, and finding out why she never spoke was just, yay! Now I finally get it, But bless her heart, I felt so bad for her because of what she had to do because of her brother, because I love my sisters. especially the one with us right now. And if I had,
I'm her
that's so hard. That's such a hard choice to make. And you know, she loves him, but at the same time, she knows that what he's trying to do isn't right. She still has morality. Now, you know, I'm gathering that the Chinese must have had access to Compound V, and that's something I wondered about in the first season. Is if it's in America, it's got to be other places as well.
That's something they do in the comic that's very prevalent. I'm from not next to my mic. I'm like a mile away. Other countries definitely have it, and there's heroes in those countries as well. Vought is just an American company.
Just Vought. Vaught's the American side of it.
And that's something that Giancarlo Esposito's character, Stan Edgar, God, I love that dude. He plays a villain so well. In his conversation with Homelander, he's like, I have to clean up your mess. You're the one that gave Compound V to these other countries, and now they have these super terrorists. And Homelander's like, super villain is the correct term.
Yeah.
And he's like, regardless, I'm having to clean up your mess. I don't have to consult you on anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you know, my contract's up this year. Maybe I'll just go somewhere else. So it gave you the idea, okay, they don't have control of all the heroes. There's other heroes out there. So it opens the door for them to bring in other elements now.
Yeah. And then Homelander's son, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, quick fact. Do you guys know that the guy playing Huey is the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan?
Did not.
No, I did not know that.
Yes, he is. He's a very good actor.
Another little fun fact about this show. In season 1, Huey's dad is played by
Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
He's the model of the character that was used in the comic. So Huey in the comic looks like Simon Pegg.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Simon Pegg knew that. He's known that for a long time, and he's just like, I'm absolutely happy to be in the show.
Yeah, I gotta be in this.
He's like, I know I'm too old to play Huey, but can I play Huey's dad? And they're like, absolutely.
If you don't like Simon Pegg, I just don't want to know you.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Hey, just know me. Yeah, I just don't want to know you. If you can't pick something. Yes, he is.
He and Nick Frost both.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Yes, Hot Fuzz. I love the zombie, but Hot Fuzz still cracks me up so much to this day.
Which one would you rather watch first? Point Break or Bad Boys 2?
Yes. And then, and the gun shooting up in the air.
You ever jump through the air, find your gun going, ah?
Yes. Love that movie. So many people have not seen this, and it's I don't get it. Like, you have to see this.
Josh still needs to watch At World's End, but other than that.
I know.
Oh, wow.
But Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz are regular viewings.
Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz are far superior than At World's End, but
I have no idea what At World's End is.
It's the third part of the Cornetto trilogy, as they refer to it.
Okay, what's that? Yeah, see,
that's just what they refer to those movies as, because they're eating Cornetto ice cream cones, which are popular in the UK.
Okay.
In every movie. Like, that's the ice cream cones that you see them eating in Shaun of the Dead and in Hot Fuzz when they're on patrol.
I love it.
Didn't know that.
Like when he's like, I got to make a quick stop in the shop. He's like, you want anything? He's like, Cornetto? So it's just a little tie-in.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't know that before. Love those movies. They're so adorable. Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to know you if you don't love Simon Pegg and those movies. I just don't.
So when does episode 4 come out?
Fridays. Episodes are going to drop for the remainder of the season on a weekly basis on Fridays.
And we will on this podcast be reviewing every episode that comes out on each episode until the show's over via whatever.
Is it just me, or is anyone else upset that like they're starting to do shows on a weekly basis again?
I'm okay.
Part of me is upset by it. Part of me is upset about it. We've had this discussion on here before. Some shows, it works to drop everything at once, especially if there's like a 6 to 8 episode and they're only a half an hour in length. Mm-hmm. Drop it all at once. It's digestible. It's 4 hours of your time.
Yeah.
But shows like The Watchmen, shows like Lovecraft Country, by being on a weekly basis, it allows for them to stay relevant longer.
That
Because
is
I adore Stranger Things,
Mhm.
but Stranger Things, the first 3 seasons of it, all dropped at once. After about 2 weeks, people weren't talking about it anymore.
that is true.
Well,
Like,
and I like
So-
it too because with all of us in quarantine now, life is very different.
Yeah.
We lived in a different world just 6 months ago where we would be out on a Friday night or a Wednesday night when these shows would come on, when we were younger. So now that we're all stuck inside, it does give me something to look forward to during the week. Oh, yeah, this show's coming out Friday night. Oh, yeah, this show's coming out Sunday night. So it gives me something to look forward to. And then, like, if something happens, like, say,
Yeah.
this week where I was just way too tired by the time 9 o'clock hit, I was like, can we watch this tomorrow? Because
morning.
I got to go to bed. So we watched it the next day. And I like that because we also didn't have that just 15 years ago. You couldn't just, decide you weren't going to watch your show when it came on, but you were going to wait until, however long later, because you'd have to have certain, equipment for that. And it costs money
Mhm.
and all that crap.
DVR.
Well,
Yeah.
I said like 2 nights ago, I was like, Lovecraft is the first show that's coming on a weekly that I've been excited about in a while. Like, and so that's
Yeah.
impressive to me. For me to say that, I'm like, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this show every week. That's a statement. So it is good. I'm excited. I'm very anxious to see where they're taking this. Please keep
Yeah.
it up. Scare me, thrill me, do it.
Yeah, I think honestly, I have a friend who mentions it before that, like, when you dump an entire show at once, you get to talk about the entire show. And I know that's the premise of this podcast. At least that's what we originally wanted it to be. But I honestly think that a lot of shows benefit from being once a week. I think
Yes.
Lovecraft Country is a perfect example of that. Like, we get to discuss not only on this podcast, but just in general with other people about like what we think is going to happen. We're going to talk about it for months to come because the show's 10 episodes.
You're going to have longer
Yeah.
interactions.
I mean, what happened? Like, honestly, can you imagine if, and I'm only using this as an example for how popular it was. Can you imagine how long people would be talking about Tiger King if it was once a week?
Right? For
Yeah.
fucking a year, because damn.
Even longer. Because we're still talking about this.
Yes, we
shit.
are. Like Carol Baskin is going, like, it's still
It's a
going on.
meme. She's a meme
That
now.
bitch, Carol
She's a
Baskin.
Baskin. That bitch, Carol Baskins. It's like, I know for a fact my ex talks about me like I'm Carol Baskins.
I think the only show that was coming out once a week that did not benefit from it, in my opinion, was Mandalorian.
Yes, if Mandalorian had been once a week, I would not have been able to do it. But because it was binge worthy, I loved it. Baby Yoda, yes.
Well, it was. I think the 8 episodes they did it in 6 weeks, but yeah, I think it could have dropped all at once and it'd have been fine.
Yeah, because
But the way
Heather,
they
you didn't get
stretched
it
it
until
out.
it was already out. All of
Yeah,
it was
'cause
out when you watched it.
Yeah, I didn't do the weekly. Yeah, I waited till it was all out because it was
Because I-
kind of hard the first couple episodes anyway. So I had to literally sit down and binge that.
Yeah, I think people would have not been so like weirdly critical about it had it been at one time. I think that having each episode kind of be a monster of the week episode.
Yeah, time to critique it.
Yeah, I remember episode 4. I liked it a lot. It was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, and she did a fantastic job, in my opinion, about telling this like samurai-esque story with this village. I loved it.
It's basically your modern day telling of the Seven Samurai, the Kurosawa film,
Right.
just done in a Star Wars setting.
The entire fucking thing is wolf and cub, but
Very, very wolf and cub.
I haven't seen The Mandalorian, but from the way I've heard people talk about it, I understand why it probably would have been better as a binge watch. I think with shows like Lovecraft, what makes it so everybody still wants to watch it even though it's weekly is because there's so many deep, intricate topics in there in each episode that it gives us time to dissect each of these topics without having to try and tackle it with one big binge. because there's a lot there to process. Same for Watchmen. These are things that people need to be able to sit down and talk about and have a discussion instead of binging it and then going, okay, which point do I touch on first? You have your points in the episode that you need to touch on that are there for you to touch on. The racism in the 1950s Jim Crow era. We keep seeing different perspectives of it in each episode. And that's something we need to discuss, not just one version of Black history that's condensed, but this is the reality. And each of these little things adds up to a hell of a lot, and white people are now finally getting to discuss this. They have, a show they like, they're watching it, they get to discuss it, and hopefully they walk away with a little more understanding than if they had just binged it.
Well, it's good also to where, like, if you talk to somebody with Tiger King or something that's bingeable, the whole season's out, when you speak about it, you have to figure out where the other person is in the show, in their binge. Whereas, like, when it's coming out weekly, if you've seen it, if someone says, I saw it, like, you can be like, oh yeah, here, and go and talk about it. Whereas,
it's a 5-hour conversation waiting to happen.
Whereas, like, Tiger King or shows like that, you're like, well, what episode are you on? And you're so excited because what if you're on episode 8, they're on episode 4, and you're like, holy shit, and you have to hold back so you don't spoil. So whereas, like, shows that are now coming out weekly, we get a time to be like, yo, you don't have to worry about spoilers so much, and you can talk openly about it.
Yeah, I don't have to go to my mom like, what episode are you on?
Exactly. Yep. Like, where are you at?
I was just going to say that, like, the analogy I've used occasionally is that there are shows that are like bags of chips, and there are shows that are like a steak and potatoes. You don't want to rush through a steak and potato. Like, you want to savor it and take, a little bit at a time, because you're not going to eat a steak and potato every fucking night. Whereas a bag of chips is junk food. A bag of chips is satisfying for a short period of time, and then you're done. And I think studios are starting to understand whether their show is a bag of chips or a steak and potatoes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's been a learning ground because this is all new, this type of thing. Is like when my daughter was born 15 and a half years ago, we still had a movie gallery that we went and rented movies at, that it doesn't exist anymore.
They're good old days.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, that place doesn't exist anymore. It's now a gym, and it has been for years, DVD player, haven't used one in years. And I've had my Xbox at least 10, and that's what we've used ever since.
Movie gallery, wasn't that next to Papa John's?
Yes, it was.
I used to work in that Papa John's.
Oh, did you? Do you know Bush?
Yeah. Well, no, it was back in It was back in the 90s, so
he
been a while.
Nah, he's like the assistant manager now. Yeah, Bush is a cool kid though. I love him. He was one of the friends of my son's friends, and it all happened. I had lots of kids in and out of my house. Bush was a cool one.
She collected cat people like she does kids, like she does cats.
Yeah, it's Betty and Jeff's foster home.
Really, so like if you're broken, come to her house.
Yeah,
taken care of. They'll
you need a hug. Yeah. Come here, I'll give you one.
She'll also be the first one to tell you how you're fucking up. Yeah, but she'll hug you afterwards.
I don't stay mad for long.
Hug you while you're fucking up, hugging you, telling you.
Josh, I'm really pissed off at you, but I'm going to hug you at the same time.
I just want to say that for some weird ass reason, the audio cut off on Josh, so he said, "Hug you while you're fucking." And
well, you gotta.
I want to make that cum shot joke, but
don't squeeze too tight.
Jesus Christ,
I'm not Charmin.
Too many jokes.
Well, why don't we go ahead and give the boys first 3 episodes a grade? Hachi Machi, we got ADD'd on that.
Yeah, we did.
I'm just gonna go first. I'm gonna give it an A+. I fucking loved it. I'm excited for more. I can't get enough of this. Like, I love superheroes to death. I love Marvel. I love DC. I watch animes about fucking superheroes. Like, I adore superheroes. I bought Marvel's Avengers, which is a broken ass game right now, but I'm gonna play the shit out of it regardless because I fucking love superheroes.
Yes.
And I loved the dissection of superheroes. I love the thought process of like, what would they actually be like, which is what this fucking show is. And I can't get enough of it. So I'm A+. I'm all in. I'm gonna throw it to Heather.
Definite A+. Everything that you said, it's like a take on like, what if I or my sister or people I knew, my brother, got superheroes? We're still going to be the same people, but now you give us, powers. Yeah, I like the dick side of it. So definite A+. Keep watching. And I'm going to go to my sister.
Oh, I give it an A+ for sure. It caught my interest with the first episode, and I was hooked after that. I mean, I didn't want to stop watching it. I was tired as hell, but like 5 episodes in, I was like, I gotta go to bed, but I still want to watch. So when the first 3 came out for season 2, we were there. We were watching, loved every minute of it, and I can't wait to see what they're going to bring us this year. So definite A+ for me.
How many sea creatures will die?
And Josh, what about you? How deep does it go?
It's okay.
You lion sack of one-legged shit.
Well,
Meh.
It's so meh. I give it an A+ as well. I absolutely fucking love this show. It's one of my favorite shows that has come out in the past couple of years. I really enjoy it a lot. I love the pacing. I love the soundtrack. The characters. I absolutely hate and loathe Homelander. And for the same reasons I hate and loathe him, I also love him because, a good story needs a great bad guy. And he just is. And the addition of Stormfront, loving it. She is just vile, straight up, terrible, reprehensible piece of trash.
Yeah,
and
she's
I can't
throwing
wait
a wild
to see
card
more
in.
from her. I can't wait to see more from her.
And
the possibilities that I mentioned earlier that the show has opened up, from the comics, I'm hoping to see that. And if we don't get that, I'm okay. I just, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm in for the ride.
I was gonna say, when I was watching this with my folks, I was like, well, she just killed 4 people, and then she does what she does next. And I went,
Yeah.
I've lost count. I literally looked at my mom, I was like, I lost count.
Yeah.
She just starts laughing.
It was crazy.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, if you're not watching The Boys, what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like, really.
It's a good show.
I'm so happy that, like, no joke, Preacher is my favorite comic series of all time, and The Boys is a close. No, I wouldn't say second, but it's close up there. And I'm so fucking happy that we've had 2, like, an adaptation of The Boys and Preacher now that are fucking fantastic. Like, I'm so happy about that. Big Garth Ennis fan. So good, guys. Now that we're done with the review stuff, we're going to go ahead and move on to the bigger topic at hand. As I'm sure a lot of our regular listeners know, what we like to do here on Uninhibited, which is our every other week show, we talk about kind of whatever we want. But we've been bringing topics to the table as of late, just things that we thought about through the week and wanted to talk about. And Betty's been doing a fucking phenomenal job at coming up with topics to talk about.
Thank you.
So this week we want to discuss addiction. How it's affected our lives, if we've been susceptible to addiction, just stories in general, and if there's any advice that we can give to help people who are suffering addiction. But I'm going to pass the reins over to Betty to start this conversation off.
Okay. This week, again, like you said, we're going to be discussing addiction, and this is why Heather is here.
Yay.
She has a very close and personal relationship with this herself.
I'm the
and
expert, apparently.
She knows what it's like. She knows the ups, she knows the downs, she knows the ins and outs. And I know that she is well versed and well spoken enough to speak on this issue and hopefully give some people a better understanding about addicts they might have in their lives or being addicted to a substance themselves. To start off with, though, I would like to say that according to psychology.com, there was in 2016 an estimated 2 million people in the U.S. with an opioid substance abuse issue. And the deaths jumped from 21,000 to 42,000 in 2016. And then in 2018, they jumped to over 70,000. Something that we know, some things that we know about the opioid crisis, or we may not know, is roughly 21 to 29% of patients prescribed opioids for chronic pain misuse them. Between 8 and 12% develop a disorder from using them.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
an estimated 4 to 6% who misuse prescription opioids transition to heroin, which we know right now is a huge problem because we're cutting it with fentanyl as well, which is a much stronger drug.
see, this is where I mean, like, yeah, these facts and like, as someone that's talking about it, these are numbers, and everything she's reciting is absolute fact. Yes, but like, if you are to sit here and say you don't understand this, if you don't know this by now, then you're either underage and there's no excuse. Like anyone in America, you cannot sit there and tell me you have not heard or been affected by the opioid addiction crisis. Like, so this is where the numbers frustrate me. Like, how many times do we have to recite these numbers? Like, it seems like numbers are not doing anything.
That's the thing, though. You know, we need to start off with the numbers to an extent to give people an understanding of how broad this effect goes, because I do know there are people in there that have addicts in their life and they don't know they're addicted, or they're really good at masking it to themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people, I've seen people that I'm friends with treat addicts in a way that, you know, you wouldn't treat this person if you saw this as a mental disorder, as you should, in my opinion. You know, these people need help. They need love. They don't need you to push them away. You know, and they didn't just, it's not really so much of a choice as it is. There comes a point where you have to do this just to stay alive. And, you know, it's not something that we just go on the street and go, oh, I just decided today that I'm going to take Percocets. You know, it's your doctors who got us hooked. You know, 80% of people who suffer from an opioid addiction were first introduced to taking opioids by their physician for one reason or another. And it doesn't have an age that it goes for. It spans across all ages.
This would be why my brothers have denied certain medication that their doctors prescribe.
You have to. That's rule number one. When they say people, places, and things, and you have to own it. It's like with my doctor that now I've had for years. Love him. When I first came to him as a recovering, you know, like I can take, like, if I get really hurt, if I break a bone, of course I'm gonna take Tylenol 3. But I let him know, do not ever prescribe me anything. I had to let him know everything, because if I didn't, then what if I get weak? You know, you have to not go, you can't take certain meds. Like I can't just, you know, go in and take Lortab 10s, you know, like it's going to be harder for me. I have to think about my actions and what it's going to feel like afterwards, you know? And that's the thing with addiction. And God, I don't even see, this was hard for me to talk about. Like, Beth knows me, and I'm very honest and very open, and you know, I have no problem talking about it. But it's still, you still have that shame where people automatically hear your recovery, or you were addicted to something, and immediately their mind goes to junkie, or you're giving hand jobs for crack in the back, which I have seen some addicts do, but you know, like not all of us did that. So it's hard because of the judgments and stuff, and like.
I only do that every third Tuesday of the month.
You know, you do it for fun, not for drugs.
Hey, Heather.
Exactly.
Heather.
Yeah.
Heather, can you put the mic closer to your mouth?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. You're doing the Jeff and the beard thing. Much better.
Yeah, so it's like, I just need this, I can only speak from what I have experienced and what I know to be true and what I've seen others go through. And I can't speak for everyone. I I'm not the poster child.
No, you're not the
So-
poster child, but you don't have a problem speaking your truth.
No, and like for one, the one thing is okay. Why did you get addicted? What started your love? It started when I was like 15 and had a medical procedure, and they threw pills at me. And then at 18, I had a root canal, and the dude messed it up. Like they OD'd me on anesthesia. Like I was about to be taken to the hospital, all kinds of stuff. He felt so guilty. This man wrote me 60 Percocet 10s for 4 months. Like how, so
60 a month for 4 months.
60 Percocet 10s a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
2
was
years ago.
18.
2 years ago, I had my right leg amputated below the knee. That's why we make the one leg jokes, all that. But I come from a family that has addicts. I have an addictive personality. Now, to my knowledge, I never have anyone that was addicted to illegal substances or controlled substances, but I came from a line of alcoholics.
And that's horrible.
Yeah, and I saw what it did to my grandmother. And because of that, I vowed never to drink ever. I was like, I know I have an addictive personality. I'm not taking the risk. So when they amputated my leg, they prescribed me Percocet 10s. And I was terrified of taking them. I said, look.
As you should be.
I was like, I do not want this to be habit forming. Yes, I'm in a tremendous amount of pain, but they gave me 14 to get me through the first week.
Yes.
And then they said, okay, 2 a day as needed. I was like, all right. I got to where I was then the next week, I said, I'm still in pain, but I want you to give me 5s on this week's refill. I didn't even take all 14 5s. I still had 4 left. That was
because you're coming from an educated place.
Exactly.
Back when I was 18 and when this all started, you didn't that's when
we didn't have that.
You didn't have that knowledge. You didn't have that.
Yeah.
Like you were able to actually legitimately. I was getting medication shipped to me from Florida. You just basically paid $200. It showed up with Percocet 10s and Xanax, and it shipped right to your door. Like it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Wild West. And the last thing you ever heard about was actually the consequences for it. And see where I never got fully addicted. I just played when I was younger and, money talks. I maybe got rid of them for monetary reasons, and in 2001, it becomes a party drug. And then you don't know that
it blew up around here.
Well, I was in South Carolina. I was in the beach and oxys. It was like not just Lord has like that's nothing, and it was oxys, and what goes from like one little tiny line, just to have fun and go to work and not feel bad. Like if you do that for a month, you're now physically addicted. It doesn't matter what your mental state is. It doesn't matter, you could be the person that doesn't want, is just doing it for fun. You're now physically addicted. The game just changed. And I didn't know about that. I didn't know when I started that, and because it wasn't a thing back then. Now
that's why the pharmaceutical companies got the shit suit out of them.
Yeah, but
because they didn't tell anyone.
Yeah,
and a lot of that started right here. Mm-hmm. That's why OxyContin was given the nickname Hillbilly Heroin.
That's exactly
right. In Lee County, just an hour down the road, there was one doctor that was prescribing this stuff like it was fucking Tic Tacs.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they did, but that's
because of the ex-loggers and ex-coal miners that were in just chronic pain from their lifetimes of being in so much pain. They started prescribing this stuff like it was fucking Tic Tacs, and they're like, oh, God, I feel great. And it was like this miracle drug. And then people found out about, if you crush this up and snort it, holy fuck, the feeling.
I mean,
and I saw so many people do that, and all of a sudden, boom, they're addicted.
Yeah,
in just no time.
That's where I can speak on. Like, I never crossed lines. But I saw lines crossed. Like, I was introduced to it young. Like when I was getting them we would go up to West Virginia and get rid of them because it would be very lucrative to do that. And I've seen people, they just snort them. And like I saw one couple, because their nose was running, snorting Ultrams to stop up their nose. And it just set with me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I will never be that. So like, and I wasn't, but how, we judge too in the addiction world. Like, but it's like, people will cross lines. You see that people will do things. And like, then as soon as you become addicted, it's like, you're stuck in a loop, like where you want to quit. I never wanted that monkey on my back, but then I got to go to work, and I don't have the luxury of taking 7 days off when it becomes down to so much where you get stuck in this cycle to where no matter whether you started it for fun, no matter whether you started it to self-medicate or whatever, you end up in the same place, and it's just where you take it. And there's not, people out there are so ashamed to talk about it or accept it that these people are paying the price. Like, the one thing in the world that sets me off is watching these goddamn Passages commercials on freaking TV. Cause I'm like, do you understand that, like, unless you're bougie rich, nobody's going to Passages? Like, unless you have amazing insurance or 20,000, at least 10 grand to drop, you're going to a Christian faith-based rehab in the middle of nowhere where they shame you and basically shove Jesus down your throat to solve your addiction. That's the only two levels that we have right now in this country. And so,
and especially in this region too, we live in the buckle of the Bible Belt.
That's honestly everywhere. That is honestly everywhere. It doesn't matter what state you live in, what town you live in, what you're addicted to. If you do not have that, at least, I mean, like, if you're going to go to a bad place, you're shelling out $6 grand. I mean, you're not getting in. You're going to a faith-based organization where the only way to solve your addiction is Jesus Christ. That's fact.
And that's across the U.S.
Across the U.S.
Most of the free addiction centers, which
faith-based,
cover poor people, are faith-based. And if you do not abide by their faith and tenets of their faith, they will kick you out of the program. And
no matter how much help you need.
No matter how much help you need. If you can't make it because you don't have a card, they'll kick you out of the program. You end up in jail. And jail is not a place. It's not a rehabilitation center. I've seen way too many people walk out of there with a new addiction than that they didn't have going in. It's a problem.
See, I learned about how hardcore the faith-based was because, I mean, like, for a while, I was looking for places. I remember calling, and I was lucky. I got on Medicaid at one point, and I wanted that monkey gone, so I was active, and I was calling places. And when I say the grace of God, I don't mean the Christian God. I mean that universal karma God. It knew, and I was able to get into a 12-bed facility. It wasn't a rehab. It was a medical detox, because that was my problem. I was so physically addicted that if I had quit cold turkey, I could have actually died. And I got lucky, but my children's father, he became addicted to heroin. I never took it that level. Yeah. He didn't have that luxury, but he wanted to, get clean too. He had to go to a faith-based in the middle of the woods where they sat him down in a chair where he finally had enough. And they told him to basically say our children were bastards because we weren't married. I mean, how do you sit down someone, like, what did you expect that man to do? Just call his children bastards? But this is the faith-based where
and there's a little more to the story, because he also suffers from a mental disorder where he hears voices and sees things that aren't there.
And that's why dual facilities come in.
Faith doesn't heal that.
No. And dual facilities, I guess that's my main sticking point. If I can leave anybody with anything, is that's what people should focus on, is dual facilities, because I just needed a monkey off my back. I didn't, I wasn't mentally trying at first numbing, but so many people are, where you need that mental, both sides. You need to physically be able to come off the medications, because this isn't just a mindset. This is physically addicting. When
What
you
does it
don't
feel
have,
like when
oh
you
my
come
God,
off of it?
damn death. Like you can't leave the toilet. I went home to South Carolina, y'all. I
You
can't
can't
even.
leave the
I
what?
can't even. I went South Carolina. I'm talking about my past. So yeah, that toilet, you cannot leave it. Your skin, you have to have it. It can't be 90 degrees. You'll be freezing. Everything hurts. If anything, you breathe on your skin, it hurt. I mean, like the worst flu you could imagine has nothing on it. Nothing. It is you'll do anything almost to. This is why people go to lengths, because it is the most horrible thing, and you can't better your life until you don't feel sick. Like you're
And that takes a
physically
while.
sick. You're physically sick. It's not a mental thing. It's actual physical. But once you overcome that physical, which I was blessed with, that I was in there for 14 days because I was on methadone prescribed by a doctor, which is the hardest thing to physically come off of. It seeps into your bones. So when you actually come off of it for about 3 months, it'll seep out of your bones and it'll ache.
Oh God.
Oh, it's hell. It's horrible.
Yeah, she went through months of this.
Yes.
And another reason why your body and your joints hurt so bad after you come off of opioids is that your nerve centers, the ends of your nerves just stop
different.
reacting because
Your brain's been rewired.
Well, it's not just your brain, it's also your nerve endings, because basically they just don't register how to react to pain anymore because they've got something taking care of it. Whatever opioid you're on is taking care of it. So one of the reasons any opioid, when you come off of it, you are going to feel like every bone in your body has been crushed.
That you just feel your sense of smell.
Uh-huh.
And like, that's one reason I knew I was done, because I was like, I don't even know if I'm feeling pain because I'm on medication. I'm like, what if I don't know if my knee hurts. I don't know if my back hurts and I just could not handle that. Like, I couldn't be latched to something anymore. Like, to get up and need that medication, you're tied to it. And you
were tied to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As so many people are. And I was blessed, and these people don't have outs. And like, that's why I'm saying dual facilities, because my kid's father was the extreme, but most people that have addiction issues there's a mental side to it.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot cure one without the other. And there are dual facilities out there. The only problem is only the rich have access to them. And that's our problem, because if you're rich, what's the problem? You
can get in there and come back out, go on a bender, and just spend another $25,000 to go right back in, have your spacation, get clean, then come back out, go to a party, and start again.
And people that I see that are like the people that work, like in Myrtle Beach, it was very classism. Like, you're either on the service industry or you're not. And these people are doing their jobs. I saw people that were maintaining on a level that you wouldn't even know what they were doing. And then I saw the other side of it, to where it was like, holy shit, man, like, you need Dr. Phil. Like, I don't even know what to tell you, man. Like, you cross lines. And it's become it's a money game. And I've been calling it for years. It's like, if any of y'all want pain pills, you can get them. You just have to go to a pain clinic and pay that doctor to get it. Money talks, bullshit walks. And that's what addiction has come down to. And nobody wants to do anything about it. Like, here, I've heard that if you wanted to go to the clinic, you have to go an hour and a half away, because these people can't handle the thought of, it's like, that's going to bring extra crime to your area. There is no winning. And that's what bothers me.
No, they make you pay in every way they can for being addicted.
And alcoholism, I can't speak on that, like my family, but I know I saw it the only thing that they accepted where I was at for those few days was alcoholics. And they were bad, because the DTs, apparently, like, DTs from alcoholism will kill you. And that's the only thing that they accepted. And, it's horrible. I've seen so much like, where your heart will actually break, because because what I was doing, I was access to certain views on life and what people will do, and people, it becomes sad, where like I've seen crazy shit, y'all. Like crazy shit where drugs is just like wow, and it's like I always had that line like never put a needle, and I knew, but I lost so many people that have done that. And that's another level of addiction. And I don't think people get that. It's like needle junkies are different from snorters, and snorters are different from smokers. I've joked about, haven't I, Beth?
Yeah,
I have. I was like, I've seen a chick smoke an Oxycontin.
which is insane.
Like, yeah, it's craziness. But they don't get help. And I've seen all these people that I'm sitting here talking all this trash. I've seen break down in tears, wishing, begging God they had a place to go to get help, that they would give anything to have that, but they don't have those means because facilities are not available.
No. Well,
Yeah.
Greg, what kind of addiction runs in your family, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm here to hear y'all's.
So my father, he was addicted to some hardcore drugs when he was younger. I don't remember what they were. I just know that he smoked it out of a pipe. So I want to say crack.
Probably.
But I know that he's done others. I know that he's tried others. My whole family suffers from like tobacco addiction and or nicotine addiction and alcoholism. As a matter of fact, the first time I ever got drunk was not at home, and I came home drunk. And I remember, even in my stupor, my mom screaming at me that she was pissed off that I drank because she was worried that I was going to become my grandfather.
Oh, that's got to make you feel bad.
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, she was just worried. Like she doesn't like that she acted that way now, but it is what it is. But at that, in that situation, like we had to talk about it like afterwards and whatnot. And she kind of went through like all the stuff that she's experienced with addiction. And even to this day, like my mom suffers from like not being able to quit cigarettes. Like she's tried.
That's the hardest part. Yeah, cigarettes are the worst.
Yeah.
She and like I said, like we know that there's addiction in our family because my brothers refuse to take medication from doctors that they are worried they will become addicted to. I know that we have addictive personalities in this family. As a matter of fact, in a way, I'm addicted to food.
Yeah.
I know that it's not an addictive substance per se, but it does trigger.
Oh yeah, it is.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah, because it definitely is.
It is.
Especially sugars.
I guess
yeah,
what I mean,
you get high on that, but it's
No.
making your dopamine go up. That's an addictive substance.
I don't eat sugar, and I still no that. Yeah, my salt.
You eat hot wings.
I just like spice, but yeah, food is. That's
I want some spicy
addictive.
wings.
Oh my God, stop!
I literally on the floor over here. I'm not joking when I say this, on my floor, because I don't have a good enough table to put it on at the moment. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different hot sauces.
Dude, I love you then. Like, I love hot sauce. Like
funny little side story about my family before we continue about this. When I was a kid, my mom didn't want us cussing, and she refused to do the whole soap trick or like put us in timeout. So what she did was Tabasco on our tongue.
Yup.
And my brothers would just be like, "Oh my!" That like they would learn their lesson. And I looked at my mom and I said, "Can I have some more?"
Pour it.
Loved it.
Give me more of this
Make
shit,
it rain
Ma.
in my mouth.
Yup.
It was really funny.
What
Man.
about you, Josh? What have you experienced? at that?
Essentially, seeing friends become addicted
Yeah.
to things. My actual family, the alcoholism on my mom's side, on her mother's side, especially, with my grandma being an alcoholic. Like, she had a liquor dispenser that was this little naked cherub boy, and I always called it the pee boy because the dispenser was the little penis on the thing. And I was 5 years old. I was like, "Oh, the pee boy." She's like, "Yeah, I keep my special drink in there. You can't ever drink from that." "Oh, okay." I was 5 years old. She showed me how to mix it with her vodka.
Wow.
Get so much of this. Put this many ice cubes in this cup. Fill it up to here with orange juice, and then top it off with this line with water from the P-Boy. I was making my grandma screwdrivers when I was 5 years old, and I didn't know it.
Wow.
That's impressive.
I didn't know what it was for her to be drunk. But when I got older, I understood what it was. That's when I said, you know what? I never want to be like this. I didn't want to be like that. And because of, I know I have an addictive personality because don't give me a credit card when I'm in a buying mood, because retail therapy is a thing.
It's like, don't give me a credit card when I've taken Ambien, because I'll go midnight shopping.
Yeah, she will. Yeah, she will. This is, I guess, where, like, I don't know how. I know that my stance on this is different from others. Is like, I had a problem with opiates, and it wasn't because I had an addiction problem necessarily. It was more of I had a party problem and physically got sucked in, and like. I never drinking, like Beth knows, growing up we had a sloshy family member, and so alcohol growing up to me was just like, I don't want to be like that,
and that's on her perspective.
Yeah, that's only on me.
We grew up in different households. I grew up with my dad and my stepmother, and she grew up with his parents, our paternal grandparents.
But we had an aunt that would go into wine, and she would just be like, no. And
I also dealt with alcoholics on another side of the family that she didn't have to deal with, that I remember being terrified of riding home with these people from a ball game because I knew they were drunk, and I was 8 years old, and I had to find a payphone and call my parents to come and pick me up because I would not get in that van because I was so scared. And that really that did shape my outlook on substance abuse a lot, because my parents were pretty clean people. My dad rarely drank.
Yes. Yeah, he still does it.
Yeah. Well, it's like he drinks more now than he did when I was growing up, because most of the time he'd leave his beer in the fridge for so long.
Oh my God, I'd
use it to wash my hair.
Will last like 2 months.
Forever.
Yes. And that's where alcohol never affected me like that, because I always saw alcoholism as alcohol as it stank and it was bad and you just make poor decisions. And with weed, I'm sorry. That was our problem in detox. They kept saying if you don't do opiates, then you can't ever have a sip of beer, or you can't ever smoke marijuana. And
because there are certain people that they have one dragon. They have one dragon that, it's like when people say marijuana is a gateway drug. Fuck you. Yeah. No, it's not.
That's what people
you're either going to go on to try harder shit, or you are not, because I am the not.
You cannot label any addiction, whether it's alcoholism or drug addiction. You cannot label it black and white. It's an onion that is so many levels and so many layers to each individual and circumstance, that just be kind. Try to understand that, instead of, you see these comments online, they should just know. No, man, that's.
If it were that easy, don't you think they'd do it?
Yeah, I mean,
because nobody likes to. I've never met an addict who was happy to be an addict.
Shame ain't gonna do nothing. I mean, for the most part, except that that one guy.
My brother-in-law used to do this. Used to try to tell my nephews this, and it always pissed me off that they're never allowed to even experiment with alcohol or with marijuana because it's a gateway drug. And I would sit there and argue with him. I'd be like, explain to me how it's a gateway drug. And he goes, well, I knew this one guy who, and then he would tell them the story.
Did you know one guy?
And I go, how would you know that guy? And he would sit there and say, he used to sell weed when he was in high school. And I was like, okay, time the fuck out. So you used to give what you knew was a gateway drug just so you could make a buck? That makes you the monster.
Shittier person.
First off, it's not a gateway drug, because I've never done a harder drug other than marijuana.
Exactly. No.
Yeah. My dad, when I was 15, he told me, okay, now this is my ex-Marine, at that point, future cop father,
Yeah.
he said that he'd only tried marijuana once and he didn't like it. Now,
Yeah.
remember, this is the same daddy who got married at 18 and had a baby, and 6 months later got knocked up again. So I told my mom, and my mom died laughing. And her first words were, "Well, if that's true, it's the longest hit he's ever taken in his life." And I'm like, absolutely. But he didn't want me to know. And I'm like, that's not a smart way of teaching your
No.
children about drugs at all. And it's like I learned through other sources, and thank God I'm intelligent and not like half the hillbillies around here thought that, oh, I'm going to try meth because it sounds like a
I mean,
fun
who
time.
tries meth?
You
I still
know?
can't get. I don't understand the meth craze. Okay, sorry.
No.
Every time I hear the word meth, like apparently it is a real thing up here, and I don't understand it. I never have understood it. Once I saw Lisa Ling back in the early 2000s talk about meth, and
Channel 1.
just no, this was National Geographic,
Oh,
and I
that's
just
cool.
don't understand it. I never have understood it. It was just meth. I mean, like, these people are losing their minds, man.
And now I got to get carded to buy freaking sinus medication. It's just not right.
So, fair point.
Yeah.
Is there a big meth problem out in California? I want to know.
I have absolutely no idea.
There shouldn't be. Like, that's what I
you're
wonder.
the wrong guy, because I honestly have no idea.
Well, see, before I moved back here, like, you hear the rumors and stuff, and like through, high school people, you hear the rumor mill, and I'm like, damn, her too? Like, everybody's on it, and I don't understand it since moving back here. It's just, I'm like, is this going on everywhere? Is there like, I don't know. And
I know this area is terrible for it, but I can't speak to outside.
yeah, like that. I can't, like, I know it. If it was in Myrtle Beach, I didn't see it. There's too many people smoking crack, maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know since moving back here. And yeah.
I think that, I know around where I live, there is a problem with it. And I think it's because it's cheap to make and easy to manufacture. And they don't have the mindset to give a shit if they blow up. I mean, they really don't. They're chasing that dragon, and I hate that for them. But I really think if we had more facilities available to these people and more education, that we wouldn't have such a problem with this, because again, I think education is the start.
I feel like and see, there's where I have, as an addict, this is where look, y'all, she's called me judgy. I know I'm probably the judgiest addict out there, but I'm like, damn it, like, come on, we all know what's in meth, like, not good shit. Like, have you ever seen a fucking mugshot where they progress that it looks good? You know what you're entering. I don't understand it. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do battery acid today. I don't.
But I would assume, because people do it, that it must feel so good to them that they don't care. And I hate that for them. I really do. Again, me personally, I have a genetic issue with metabolizing opioids. My liver just chops it up like a ninja. And so before I know it, it's morphine, and I'm going, oh shit, and my body's overloaded. So I've never gotten what I hear people talk about when they take opioids. It's the warm fuzzies. I've never had that.
Yeah, that was great.
It's the horrible pukies for me. It's like when I got in my accident and my hip had been dislocated and they cracked the back of my pelvic bone, they threw Percocets at me. I mean, I was getting tons of Percocet 10s, and I couldn't take them because they made me so sick. So I'm lucky because addiction runs in my family, but my body has made sure I will never go there. I can't go there,
If we don't acknowledge that big pharma and the laws and stuff that have been enacted and the way they've handled things are not making people go certain routes, then we'd be crazy. While we're starting to have all these deaths from fentanyl, and again, I've been raising hell about this fentanyl thing for a hot minute, because heroin's always been cut with fentanyl. It's always been there. It's always been a thing. But now these people have been cut off from their scripts because doctors have gotten them hooked and they've had them hooked for years. And then now these laws changed and the doctors have to release these people. So now they're out there taking the alternative route. And that's why people are ODing all over the place. I mean, it's yeah.
And a refusal by government leaders in certain areas to allow their first responders to carry Narcan, which could save so many lives. But there are some leaders in certain states who are so religious and so close-minded that they refuse to allow the first responders in their area to carry Narcan to stave off an overdose.
Yeah, well, they're dicks. Okay, I gotta ask. I gotta ask you two. Like, have you ever heard of Flocka?
Mm-hmm.
See, okay, I just found out about Flocka like 2.5 weeks ago. I was watching a video. I know, I'm really late to the game on this one. And it really creeped because the video I saw was like, basically, I would have called an exorcist on this bitch. Like, I'd have had my house. But like, I just found out about this. It's amazing to me. I'm like, who does this? So
that guy in Florida who ate the face off of another person while naked, he was on Flocka. I know, Florida man, up to everything.
No, I just don't understand when you get a drug that makes you act like that. You're like, yo, that Friday night was lit. I bit off his face. Like, can we totally do this again tomorrow? I
really liked Jim, but man, he sure was tasty.
You know how to get some Mar-a-Lago?
I'm feeling a little Steve tomorrow.
So it's interesting that the two of you have basically avoided drugs because of what you know. You are educated. You are intelligent enough to know that this runs in your family, so you avoid it. Some of us didn't get that opportunity, you know. Some of us become addicted because we've had a chronic pain issue. You know, like Josh, you understand that. It's so easy when they throw pills at you to just get addicted. And, you know, it wasn't just 20 years ago when you could do this. You know, you could go to the doctor and walk out with a script of Xanax, no problem. Try that today and see what happens, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they created this problem. The pharmaceutical companies created the problem.
Yes, they did.
I mean, y'all, I was getting pills through the internet. Like, we had FedEx delivering them. I mean, I never would have and nobody ever said, well, if you keep taking them, you'll be, you know. I just knew they were really popular.
I think the thing for me, one of the big things for me is that a lot of people like to just point the finger at like one group for the problem with addiction in this country, and I'm like, oh no.
So many.
No, while the pharmaceutical company is to blame for a large part of it, let's be fair. The wealth inequality is at the heart and center of this issue.
Because, and that goes back to what I said. The game has not changed. The wealthy are still able to go and to a doctor and get whatever they want in a safe space and everything. And the poor people are just that's what it comes down to. Money talks and bullshit walks. And if you're rich enough, you can have whatever.
And the thing is, as well, you know, there is a history to this, and a lot of the history of why we have a black market for drugs is based on classism and racism. You know, I mean, and it's, you know, the government owes a lot of people an apology for the things that they've done over, you know, drug abuse and drug offenses, because it wouldn't be like this if you hadn't made it black market. America basically handed the entire, you know, recreational drug industry over to cartels, to bad people who don't give a shit, who do not have to follow any law.
No, I disagree with
whatever
that.
they want.
I disagree.
Well, no, I don't, because, you know, again, the thing is, when you put something, when you make it illegal completely and you make it black market, you enhance the potential for harm. I'm not
feel
saying
like-
I think all drugs should be legal, but
Yeah.
you need to acknowledge that marijuana is not
Oh my
a
God.
category 1 drug that's up there with heroin and has no medical value.
Well,
And when-
I think it was a money game all to start, and
Oh,
basically
yeah.
when people started this became their cause. This disrupted the lawmakers had to do certain things, and this disrupted the economy. And like to where have y'all not heard the stories about where businesses are having hard times hiring some people because everybody's failing fucking drug tests.
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
can't pass drug tests. Like you sabotage the economy yourself. You made pain pills. You let the pharmacies, the pharmaceutical companies get it to the doctors who got it to the patients who got it to the like there was a system in place and y'all let it happen and then you just jerked it. So now you have people dying and you have people not the system got disrupted. Nobody got helped. It just made everything fucking worse.
Well,
I'm very
yeah, that's absolutely true. Again, and again, making it into a black market substance increases its potential for damage. It's like when spice came out. The original recipe for spice was not inherently harmful. Them trying to ban the chemicals and having the people who make it come up with new ways to get around it made it more inherently dangerous.
I'm just saying, no, I gotta go with the side that the synthetic. I saw the spice. I saw a couple people smoked it, and like that shit was weird. And like,
but
I'm just saying that was not like it was.
I'm not.
Strange.
Yeah, I do not advocate for spice, but I'm saying the original formula that was used was created by a scientist. It had gotten released, and he was afraid about that because he didn't want people to do this. It was basically a synthetic THC.
And as the only marijuana smoker, that's sacrilegious.
What?
Like, what did you do?
THC? We've got to ban this. So they looked at the substance list and banned those substances. Well, I'm sorry. The guys making these chemicals in back labs just got more creative and made it inherently more dangerous. And it has. It's caused people to go into comas and come back out of them never themselves again. It's caused people to die. And again, I think that's once you make something black market, you are saying, I don't care if it makes it more dangerous. I'm just going to tell you no, and that should be enough. And that's never going to work.
At the same time, creates more of a curiosity in some.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And more of a desire for those types of personalities to be like, well, this must be good if they say we can't have it.
Yep.
And I've got to try it.
At this point, y'all want to say there should be more education, and I don't feel like there should be more education. I feel like the education we get is plenty enough. People are just willfully ignorant at this point. There needs to be more help. And like until we get that, people are gonna smoke spice. And I
absolutely agree with you. We should have help.
Because you're stupid if you smoke that. I'm judging.
Yes,
I absolutely like, what is wrong with you?
We absolutely
better.
do need more help, but the only way we're going to get there is if we have educated people willing to give the help. So that's why I say education comes first. It's like with marijuana, it's education, regulation, and rehabilitation. Because there's no reason why people should believe that taking a hit of marijuana is going to get their ass raped. That's never going to fucking happen. Let's be honest about this,
not.
And when they find out, when little Johnny finds out that, hey, marijuana is not as bad as my parents said it was, well, let's see if this drug is not as bad as they said it was. And let's see if this drug is not as bad as they said it was. And that's the slippery slope you go down.
Yeah, there's a lot. I will say this. I'm still proud to this day, you guys, when I went to get off the opiates, because I had to be medically withdrawn. I'll never forget. I was back there. My blood pressure was spiking. It was the second day, and they put something in they had to give me an opiate and the woman's just like, we only give this out once a year. Feel
Mm.
lucky. And I'm like, yo, I feel all kinds of lucky, woman. Like,
yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it was amazing. I just shit myself, man. Like that was so much fun. Like, yay. And yeah. And it was just it was just they gave you the pill. Okay, yeah, I totally forgot where I was going with that. Once I said I shit myself, I just started laughing.
I've found from personal experience, shitting oneself can really derail anything happening in
It
the moment.
really does, man. It just takes away everything.
Oh, well, that's the thing I got to deal with now. Here we go.
Great. They just had this floor done.
Just had this floor done.
But it's interesting that, both of you talk about alcoholism in your family. And, I know, Josh, you don't drink. I know, Greg, you drank White Claws. So I don't really consider that drinking. But
I only drink White Claws right now because alcohol does turn into sugar in your system.
Oh,
I'm trying to limit the sugar.
Yeah.
But my favorite go-to is like Mountain Dew or not Mountain Dew. I'm sorry. Wow. I don't know why I said Mountain Dew. Dr. Pepper or like a regular Coke and rum.
Oh,
I love spiced rum. Spiced rum is so good.
I gotta say though that like people need to know that I'm coming from a different side, like where it's the addiction type of narcotics, where there's NA, AA, and alcoholism is so serious, and it is so like it's got its own whole side of things, and I can't speak on that. And like where you all have, I mean, like people that shit's no joke. Like
I have to say this. I want to kind of add this in here because you mentioned AA and NA, and if you are going to an anonymous group and it's helping, keep going. Go.
Yes.
If you whatever
like works for you, do it.
Right. I was like, if you're like me who doesn't believe in God and doesn't have any religious affiliation whatsoever, all those anonymous groups follow religious doctrine. They do.
But I gotta say this though, that when we had to go, they trooped us off for 3 meetings a day, and it was I'm not like that. I'm not Christian. I'm not following it. But if you make connections there that will help you, and if you're able to speak on things, you can put the God shit aside. If it works for you, do it. Like there was a couple of times, like I'm not like them steps. Like I had questions, I had issues, but there was a couple of times as soon as I got out when I needed to go back and just to sit and hear other people speak about their stories, to know you're not crazy and you're not alone. It doesn't matter who believes in God or who doesn't. It's just, you don't even have to get up and share. I never did. It's just to go in here like, I'm not crazy. This is not something that just I had to go through. And even if family members, if that makes you feel better, listen to people. You won't feel so alone. You can sit there quietly. They won't come at you. Everybody's nice.
I really, really tried years ago with my dad primarily to go to Overeaters Anonymous. And I had the hardest time with it because I just couldn't get behind what they were saying. I couldn't do the steps. Like I don't know if it was something in my mind that was just pushing it away, but it just felt like these little like mind tricks that you're doing on yourself to overcome the overeating. And
it's pretty much, yeah.
And it's just, and again, I have to clarify, it just wasn't for me.
Exactly. That's where you're good at. And that's where people need to do that more. Like, okay, you guys, like the story, NA is basically based off of AA. I had serious issues with how the bills and it was founded. Like if y'all don't know, I'm not even going to sit here and it's you have to have some belief. Like you have to take it to a level, and I had issues with that. But what I didn't have issues was that these people were always accepting, and even if they knew that wasn't your belief, it comes down to like just being.
Did it help you?
Yes. Yeah. It helped me when I needed it. Did I need it all the time? No, I'm not that person. But if it has its good qualities, if only to like I said, you see that you're not alone, because a lot of us with it have as family members too. You sit there and you have loved ones and you wonder if you're alone and how you feel and want to, care. You're not alone. And that's, I can guarantee going to something like that will make you feel not alone.
Yeah. And that's the thing that needs to be mentioned too, as someone who's not the addict but is dealing with someone they love that is.
Yeah.
It can be really hard for you as well. It can put you in a really hard spot, and you're not sure about life in general. And those types of groups can be good for you.
Very much so.
Therapy can be very good for you. If anyone should choose the therapy route, they need to know that they have a choice in the therapist that they get, if it's through a free clinic type situation. I know Southwest Virginia offers those, and you can specifically say, I do not want a therapist who is going to bring up God, because I've been through that. It was not fun. When I went back and I knew I could ask for the kind of therapist I wanted, I had a great experience. It did me a lot of good. So, if you don't believe in the faith-based and maybe that's not for you, maybe go and listen to one to see that other people are going through it. And if you choose to go through therapy, make sure that, you request a counselor who is in line with your beliefs.
Just go in, you don't have to buy into the indoctrination. You really don't. You can still
no, but some people would be
but if you do, if it does help you, go for it.
Yeah.
Whatever gets you better, man. And I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I don't care what wagon you're on, as long as you're on it.
Yeah, that's the other funny part about my family is that my mom is not the cold turkey type. My dad is. He when I said he was addicted to those hard drugs, he was coming home. I might get the story wrong. He listens to the podcast. He'll sit there and be like, "That's not the truth, Greg." But
we love you, Daddy.
I'm going to tell you the version I remember, and it's very vague, but it had a lot to do with the fact that I was born. My sister was already around. He knew that doing it could be a big factor into not getting Lily's full custody. So, because of different mom, so he literally pulled over next to an orchard on his way home, was gonna smoke, and then threw the pipe and the lighter out the window.
That's awesome.
He has done similar shit with tobacco. He used to smoke cigarettes all the time, and then just one day stopped. And
wow, superhero.
That's some serious willpower, man.
Yeah,
congrats to your pops, man.
Yeah, I got pregnant. I quit, but it took me. I had to taper down for a few weeks, before I finally had that last cigarette. So kudos to Daddy, because that's some power, man.
And that's the point I want to make to people listening to this podcast or that are struggling with addiction. You might know somebody who did the cold turkey method and it worked for them.
Doesn't mean it's on
they
you.
are a rare breed. They are a rare breed.
Don't feel less than because you can't live up to other standards.
Right.
Do not ever
because you're not on the same path as Billy Bob over there. You gotta find your own path, and you gotta find your own way and what works for you.
You do,
and don't apologize for it because it works for you.
Yeah, them cold turkey, oof. And especially the smokers, they can be dicks sometimes.
Ex-smokers are the worst. They are the worst.
Oh my God.
They throw at your face all the time. Yeah, I used to smoke. Oh, our grandmother, before she passed away, she used to say that she was never addicted to cigarettes. She could pick them up and put them down whenever she wanted. And I was just like, okay, you're old. We'll just go with it.
Yeah, we just let Meemaw run.
Yeah, Meemaw over there. We know the truth, but girl, good. I'm glad you believe that. You go to heaven believing that.
Hands down, cigarettes is honestly the worst. To quit. I've quit for a minute, and it took helping vaping and get my nicotine down, and I did it, and it's hard. Because
I had to lock myself up in a room for a weekend.
They say people, place, and things with addiction, and that's hands down true. But you can't do that with cigarettes. You can if you quit smoking, if a person 3 cars in front of you is smoking and puts their cigarette, you get a whiff of it, and then you're like, oh, you can't escape it. So smoking is honestly the hardest to quit. Because
it's bad when you get out of your car and search for the butt to see if there's any remainder.
Or you
Fuck the traffic. I need some nicotine.
Or smoking on TV. You're sitting there.
Oh no! You see somebody smoke on TV, you automatically got to light one up. It doesn't matter
yeah.
if you just snubbed one out. You still got to light it up.
Like literally, I've been without cigarettes for like 35 minutes, and I'm already fucking freaking out.
I can't fully attest to this because I'm not addicted to any other major substance, but or never have been. But I did hear a psychologist talk about that the next to cigarettes, the hardest thing to quit or to get out of a habit of is food.
Yeah.
Because you still have to eat to live, regardless.
Yeah, your fridge is not going anywhere.
Yeah,
like you can't hide from your fridge. You can't hide from your kitchen.
For me to hear that and have experienced like friends and family that have gone through like actual, like I don't say actual, this sounds mean, but other types of substance abuse and addiction and stuff like that, and for me to be like, yeah, I'm addicted to fried chicken. It just
shut the fuck up. Fried chicken's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on who made it.
Yeah, I mean that is true. Yeah, but I mean,
your
like,
favorite KFC.
no, shut up, Bojangles.
You don't
Dude,
even
I
have
eat
a
KFC like 2 times a year.
Don't let
if
people
we're
be
gonna have
judgy.
if we're gonna have the fried chicken debate, straight up, I've had it. Bojangles is the best.
But
Popeyes
thank
is
you. Popeyes next, and I don't know about your Food City, but my Food City, like their deli, it's $6.99 for an 8-piece. If you get it at like
They
10
make
o'clock in the
some
morning,
decent fried chicken.
amazing. Like,
Also, I'd like to point out how like fucking grocery store fried chicken has more salt than the fast food fried chicken.
it's great. I'm a salt addict, so do it right. Yeah, I mean, like you can escape. Like I can go and not be around pain pills, or something. I'm still gonna be around that fridge.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
rough.
And if that's what brings that dopamine to your brain and gives you comfort, yeah, that's hard, man.
Yup.
It's
harder.
Yeah, well, I put it up there as the same as any type of addiction. Addiction is an addiction, and I don't care what it is. If you're dealing with it and it's causing you harm or bad thoughts or feelings, it's a problem, and it needs to be taken seriously. And nobody should ever downplay anyone else's addiction.
Yeah, just come back. It comes back to like what we all were saying about comics versus movies. Like, just let people fuck. Like, don't hate. Don't go at somebody and make them like, well, my addiction or this is better. This is like, just don't go at somebody because you don't know what they're dealing with. And
the thing that pisses me off the most is when people use that clip. I love the movie, love it to death, but people use the clip from Half Baked where like Bob Saget's in NA for marijuana, and the black dude, I can't remember the guy's name for the life. He's a comedian.
Dave Chappelle.
No, it's not Dave Chappelle. It's a different black guy entirely. He's a different comedian. He's a little bit smaller. I can't.
Cat Williams.
Face. No, it's not Cat Williams. I have his face in my mind, but I can't play. Anyway,
Chris Rock?
Stands up.
No, I can't think of anybody but Dave Chappelle.
I'll look up the clip and find the guy's name. But he says in the clip, in this NA clip, he goes, "You in here for some marijuana?" Like, and the whole crowd starts ostracizing Bob Saget's character for being in there for marijuana.
No, Bob Saget's the one that stands up and says, "You're in here for marijuana," to Dave Chappelle, and he's like, "I used to suck dick for coke."
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. My bad. But that's right. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's right. The reason I bring that clip up is even though it's funny and it's, in the sake of comedy, I think people kind of got that in their head that that's the case. Like,
for some people, there is a very small possibility of addiction to marijuana. I remember when Lady Gaga was being very vocal about what she experienced with addiction to marijuana. While that is absolutely possible, that doesn't make it a gateway drug. That's one thing I would say. And
I don't want nobody complain about the freaking marijuana addiction. It sucks when we all don't have marijuana. I get it. I fully do. But I mean, like, I'm just, yeah.
For some people, again, I can personally say I've not experienced that type of addiction. But I would say for somebody who does, I'm very sorry for you for going through that. And, do what you can that helps you. You know,
I'm saying don't do anything harder because you'll be fucked. Like,
no,
you're
don't
gonna
do
feel a
anything
lot
harder,
worse.
but, you know, I mean, if you're gonna go straight edge, then just fucking go straight edge.
The,
Okay,
the
that's
reason I
your
bring up the half-baked scene is because you said addiction is addiction is addiction. And I
Yeah.
think that if anyone says that they are addicted to something or they know they have an addiction to something that isn't considered an addictive substance, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If they say they feel like they're addicted to marijuana, then it's probably because
Yeah, I
they're
know, and
smoking
I
it
got
too much
judgy
and-
with that. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, like Beth knows I have to roll my
Yeah.
shit back a lot
Get judgy.
because I do get judgy because I'm like, what the fuck, you know? Like, I'm really like, you know, like. So I that's my bad. I do understand. I feel my bad.
Well, you know,
You're right. You're right. I just
understand if you've not been through it. That's
exactly. I'm being
completely
judgy.
understandable. You know, it's like we said earlier today. Sometimes even when you don't feel like it, you just got to say, "Okay, I understand." You know?
I guess what it comes down to me is that, like, I'm straight up addicted to marijuana. I mean, like, if I don't have it, I've been a smoker since I was 15 and and if I don't have it, yeah, my stomach will get a little queasy and I understand the uncomfortable of it and I like to smoke. But I guess when you've seen harsher addictions, that's where the judginess comes in. It's like if all you have to complain about is and I guess maybe it's in the real world. Like if all you have to complain about is a marijuana addiction, then
That's a first world problem.
yeah, it's a total first world problem, man. It's a total fucking first world problem.
it's like I pointed out before. Like you can consider something that you can consider something like marijuana as an addiction if it's ruining your life. If you're that to
if
me
it's having a negative effect on you in any way, shape, or form.
Like if you're like, fuck you, I don't love you to your man or your woman, like I'm gonna smoke this bowl instead of make hot sweet love to you. Yeah, I don't want to go to work because I'm
I
gonna
went and
hit
bought.
this ball. Like
we went there, did we?
Yeah, I'm just saying you gotta integrate. If it's really fucking up your life like that, then yes, you have.
Yeah, like if you went and bought weed instead of buying formula for your baby.
Yeah,
that's
like you really have an issue. I feel like you have issues with more than just the marijuana, but like I feel yes, you definitely have problems that need to be addressed. So yeah. If you're going by form, yeah, definitely, definitely.
So, Josh, did your grandmother die from any alcohol related illnesses, or did she pass through fine?
She passed in 99, but she got sober in 89.
Oh, that's great.
So she lived the last 10 years of her life completely sober.
Well,
but apparently she was only 60 or 59 when she passed away. Woo. And it was because of all the heavy damage done to her liver and other things. Because for a long period of time, she was always like laid up, crawling around the floor, drooling drunk.
Wow.
Jesus.
So what kind of person was she when she got clean?
She was amazing. And one of my favorite people in the entire world, and I miss her every day. I wish she had been around to meet Madison and Misty.
Yeah.
Before that, I would go and spend the summers with her, but she wasn't my favorite person to be around.
Yeah.
Understandable.
When I graduated high school, I went to live with her in South Carolina for a while. Yeah. So, yeah, she was pretty amazing once she was clean.
Well, you know, I
was going to say I wish I had more time with her, but also I'm glad that I learned.
Yes.
Because if I had not had that example, I know I wouldn't be who I am today. I know I have an addictive personality, and I know I would have probably succumbed to peer pressures of, hey, try this. And who knows? I did some stupid shit as sober. So who knows if I'd even be here today. I mean, I can't make that.
Well, see, one of the reasons why, Jeff didn't drink until he was around 30 is because his father was an alcoholic and he suffered through a lot of things. And at the end, he wasn't supposed to be drinking. And whenever we would go see him, oh, no, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking. And he ended up passing away. We had to put him in a nursing home, and he passed away a couple weeks later. And we cleaned out his house. It was amazing because we found so many bottles of French vanilla extract.
That's some craziness.
Yeah. I mean, just stacked all throughout the house in different places. And that's how he was getting his fix. You know, and
that's sanity.
Yeah. And I totally understand why Jeff was absolutely dead set on this, you know, for so long. And he does drink now, but he's not like, you know, a raging alcoholic. He drinks wine, you know, he's King George with his glass of wine, you know, and he gets a little tipsy and, you know, yeah, he's gotten drunk a couple of times, but he's not a mean drunk. His dad was a mean drunk. You know, I think we've all encountered the mean drunk. None of the Ogletree girls are mean drunks. We're all stupid, silly drunks. We're fun to be around. We do stupid shit, but, you know, it's funny. And, you know, I don't drink a lot.
But the bitch can drink when she can't. Like, I'm just gonna say, like, I'll come over here. I'm just saying, like, I came over here a couple months ago, and she's got a bottle of Jameson right there, and like, she can legit take a shot, not flinch, like, man up, do it, and I'm just like, holy shit, you know, like much respect for that when that happened. I'm like, I would be gagging right now if I had to do that. But she's not
guys
a drinker.
love me. What can I say?
She's completely sober. Like,
I mean, you know, I do drink. It's like when they came over Saturday night, I had half a mug of
she's a
mixed drink.
Drinker, complete occasional social drinker.
Or Donald Trump's really pissed me off today drinker.
Yes. Then she gets real like, oh my God.
I have a very embarrassing story about drinking too much. Back when Prince had passed away, and like a week before that, fucking David Bowie.
That was a rough time, man.
So Prince died on my birthday, by the way. Yeah, it was pretty awful. And I had to stream that night.
I remember that. Oh my God.
Goodness. So I went and bought a whole fifth of Sailor Jerry, which is my go-to rum of choice. I'm not joking when I say this. I drank that whole thing in like, I want to say about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. Because the next thing I know, I'm waking up with vomit on my bed.
Oh my God.
It's like 2 a.m. and I have no idea what the fuck happened. I can't find my phone for the fucking life of me anywhere. I then go over, I kind of get out of bed. I go to the bathroom. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I clean myself up a little bit. I noticed that the bottle is empty. I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And I don't know how the stream went. I have no clue. So I go to the VOD and I'm watching it, and I am unbelievably plastered, and I'm screaming at people to vote for Bernie Sanders.
Oh God! Oh my
no
God!
Joke.
Oh no, dude, you've got to link me this because I need to see this. I need to hear this.
So it's I have to unfortunately tell you it is deleted. The guy. Because here's the problem. Twitch has a whole thing where if you have something like that up, it looks that they can consider it self-harm, and so they can delete your channel.
That's hilarious.
It didn't stick around too long. Greg was white girl wasted.
It was so bad.
I've been white girl wasted too. So hey, it happens to the best of us. You guys, I hate to say this, but that 5 o'clock's rolling my train. I don't drive. My train's coming soon. In about 15
shit. Okay,
minutes.
We got to wrap it up. Got it. Well, yeah, guys. Jesus, that was a fucking fantastic conversation.
Well,
told
thank
you it
you
would
so
be.
much.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
if my ADD affected it and we went off.
No,
tangent.
No,
Like,
that it
We
fits
do this a
in.
lot.
It fits in with our MO. I mean, we're ADD as it is because we'll go off on tangents all the time. But I did
Yeah.
want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us.
no problem.
You know, no worries here, no shame from us because we understand things
Yeah,
happen.
and to anybody out there, don't listen. I'm not the authority. Just
No, she's not the authority, but she does have wisdom and she does have good advice. And I, for one, am very proud of her and who she's become today.
yes,
So.
Yeah.
I haven't stabbed anybody or burnt houses down.
That's
so I'm
right.
winning at life. Yes,
You're winning.
I'm
You haven't
winning.
called me from jail yet.
Not
so-
yet. Yet. We have an understanding. Yeah, guys, I loved it. I love talking about. Yeah, I love. I'm a nerd out. Like I love The Boys. I love shows on Netflix. And like I told her I would love to come on and talk about Suicide Squad 2. And when that comes out, because I love that show and I just want to talk about it. So yeah, I'll come back anytime you guys want. I love it. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't know about
That cum
Greg,
shot
but-
though. That cum shot though. That cum shot though. That'll
She's
be
gonna be
hands-
thinking about that for a hot
hands
minute.
down the
That's
best story of how like that
Oh, if they-
superhero
If they ever
I
make
mean-
the Pro
or
into like a
got
movie,
fucking superpowers.
I hope that the Pro becomes a movie and like it's fucking full on rated R. Like I want.
Oh,
That
I absolutely want this now. Like I absolutely want to see this.
It's. I wish I still had the comic. I like again. I loan out my stuff all
I
the
would
time. 'cause I'm
honestly
like,
read that shit. I would,
It's-
honest to God.
it's a one shot. Like I'm sure it's not that expensive on like Amazon or something because it's.
you
only
had me at
one
like
issue,
the rapid hand jobs.
or one trade, I should say. There's actually in the trade there was an extra comic where another hooker had gotten superpowers, but her superpowers were 10 arms.
Like
So her and the Pro had a competition for how many
see,
hand jobs.
oh my God.
Who
Like,
won?
honey,
But who won?
So fortunately, neither of them won because they were interrupted by a supervillain. But
But what? Oh,
So one's
Who's the
given 10
supervillain?
I
handies.
have questions,
But
Beth. I
who's
have
the
questions.
supervillain?
One's
what
given
did
10
they-
handies, and
Well,
then
yeah.
one's got a line of dudes seeing if they can get the 10
Somebody,
off before
she's
the
getting a train run on her. Like this is like, oh
Yeah.
my God, the
But
cum
who's
shot
the
though.
supervillain?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I just the hand job thing was so fucking funny that this
'Cause
was
who
I'm
so-
still
stopped
caught
the
up on the
hand
cum
job?
shot.
I
But
barely
who's-
like that's the thing. I haven't
why?
read it in so long. Like the thing.
you know what?
behind her.
Uh,
It's probably
yeah.
one of them's mother.
Ah!
Were they in the basement again?
What are
Oh.
you kids doing down here? Get the fuck out of here
I
with that.
can't. This
She
has
took
been
her
awesome.
flip flop off, man. She took her flip flop off.
Oh, you knew it was business when the flip flop came
Oh,
on.
yeah, you did. She didn't even have to say anything. You just better run faster than she did in that one flip flop.
I ain't doing nothing.
If she pulled them off both, you're done. Both off, you're done for.
I am done with you, Milo. Your dog. It's I
Yeah,
put
my
on
dog.
I just put on my flip flops, and this dog thinks I'm taking it out.
Holy shit! In October 2009,
Yep.
a live adaptation of the graphic novel. They said that they would like to have either Sarah Silverman or Ellen Muth, I have no that, play the lead. In March 2017, Paramount Pictures picked up the film rights to the Pro and hired Zoe McCarthy to write the screenplay.
Well,
So they are going to make a live action of it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I gotta ask real quick,
Squee.
not to get in discussion, but I heard in one of my groups that like there's been rumors about rebooting Lord of the Rings, and I'm just gonna say that would
but
be
we
most
just did that.
20 years
Uh,
ago, but it's still you can't. It's been 20 years, but it's iconic. You cannot.
It's not quite. It's not. I mean, it is a. It's a. It's. That's going to be a TV series on HBO. Is what it's gonna be.
Yeah,
no,
it's going to
I'm
be
not
on
into
Amazon. It's going to be on
Mhm.
Amazon and on.
that.
Okay, so
I'll
here's-
try it.
Here's the story. The short was called "The Pro versus the Hoe," in which
Ha.
It's 12 armed, not 10 armed. Sorry. In the story, the Hoe receives powers in much the same way that the Pro does via an alien viewer that orbits the Earth in a cloaked ship. That's what it was. It wasn't a meteorite. That's what I forgot. Because the Pro has superpowers, she is able to perform sex acts at super speed. The problem arises when several of the Johns complain the time they relax enough to enjoy themselves, their job is over. The Hoe then appears and confronts the Pro and knocks her into the river and eventually saves her from drowning. Subsequently, the two women get to know one another. The Hoe explains that she never wanted superhuman powers, and all she ever wanted was to do work with small animals as a veterinarian. The Pro revolves.
She just wanted to work with small animals.
The Pro resolves to take the Hoe to animal husbandry facility, where she uses all 12 of her arms to service the animals for breeding.
Oh my god!
Okay,
I love this comic.
Look, I mean, I thought that they catered to us with historical romance, but they are straight up fucking with you boys. Like, I don't even know how this.
So, anyways, we've got to stop, guys. We got to stop because, like she said, her ride is coming. So
let's go ahead.
It's been amazing, y'all.
It has been.
Let's go ahead and do our outro stuff, Josh. If you want to get that going.
All right. Well, for all of you out there, if you're new to the show and you're still here, fuck yeah. Thank you. Follow the show down below. All the links will be below the description of where you can follow us: Instagram, Twitter, social media such as Facebook. If you want to buy some merch, keep on the lookout. We are going to have new artwork debuting soon. Our artist did have a hand injury, and he has subsequently finally gotten over that. And he's back to drawing and sent a color shot of Greg's rough sketch, not the final design, by the way. That's just the rough sketch. So I'm looking forward to seeing these. Really excited. Can't wait to debut that. Now, as for me, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook under my regular name. Absolutely enraging the Karens, apparently.
Oh, you are.
Well, too fucking bad. Too fucking bad. I'm sorry, but when you have a gathering of that many people, and I call you assholes because you're directly linked to the Sturgis bike rally, over 260,000 cases of coronavirus because of it. And I refer to those in attendance as selfish assholes, and you take offense to that and then throw up, oh, what about all these protesters and rioters burning down cities? You might be a fucking racist.
Yeah.
And I'm going to out you for it. I don't give a fuck.
But that's why we love you.
Yeah. Take it or leave it. I am who I fucking am. I'm authentic as shit.
There you go. I said what I said.
But if you want to, yeah. And if you want to follow a jackass like that, you can do so by finding me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. But Facebook's where I'm more outspoken and volatile. But yeah, that's me. Betty, is there anywhere they can follow you if you would like for them to?
You can follow me on Facebook at Betty Badger Ogletree. You can follow me on Twitter at Bright Betty, and you can follow me on Instagram at Petrichor Betty. The links will be down below. But I am most active as Josh on Facebook. So that's where I am.
All right. Heather, do you have anywhere on social media you'd like to promote in case anybody wanted to? Okay.
No, I'm telling you, don't contact me. I don't care.
All right. Well,
don't look her up through me. She will delete you. I'm just telling you right now.
I don't care. I love you guys, but no, I'm
She's a private person.
Yeah, I'm be over introverting out.
That's awesome.
All social media is under Chub Rock Geek. I keep saying it every week, but we're gonna get to play some Jackbox soon. We really are. But yeah, that's everywhere, literally everywhere. Chub Rock Geek. We need to start our this podcast zone like Twitter or Twitch account, so that way we can stream on that instead of my own. But whatever. Right now it's Chub Rock Geek. But yeah, that's it for me.
Bless you.
Thank you. So much fun, you guys.
She said spank.
No, yeah, this is
yeah. That's yeah.
For next week, guys, we're going to be Next week, we're going to be talking about the next Boys episode and the next Lovecraft Country episode. We don't have anything planned to watch individually or as like the third show or whatever. But what I do want to do is that I want all three of us to bring something that we've watched that we know that the other two haven't, and give it a review. Whether it's something brand new, something you've watched before that you kind of want to promote, that's totally fine.
Well, you know what? I already got something then.
All right. We'll save it because we want to surprise us.
Yeah, I think I have something too.
I gotta look. I honestly don't know. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do next week, guys. God damn it, this has been amazing, Heather. Thank you for joining us.
Guys,
we'll have to get you back on in the future. Because it was fantastic conversation.
I'm really proud of me. Like I was just like, oh shit, this is gonna go to hell.
Nah, you did good.
Well, that's our favorite place.
I know, right? I just didn't think other people would appreciate it like I do.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Have a good one.
Sticking to the whole thing, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Peace, love, and Polly Pops.
Take care, everybody.